Okay, everybody, I think we'll get started. Welcome to Community Board Two's SLA 2 October meeting. If people want to continue the conversations, you're welcome to go in the back, outside, wherever. My name is Donna Raftery. I'm chair of the SLA committee. I have other committee members here, Cormac Flynn, Brian Pape, go down to Katie Bordenaro, Dr. Shirley Smith, Bob Ely is a public member, and Eric Olson is a new board member sitting in on the committee. So that's that. Okay, then anyone in the public, I've said this a few times, but everybody make sure you've signed in. There are sign-in sheets here. If you're here to speak on an application, there's a speaker card here. Please fill it out and give it to Bob, and then we'll call on you. You have to indicate which application you're here to speak on. When I call on the applicant, please come forward. There's a microphone over here. We have to use the microphones. Go through your application. Then we'll go to the committee members for questions. After we're done with the committee members, we will go to the public. So we'll call you up by the speaker cards. If you've decided at the last minute you want to speak on something, you can fill out the speaker card afterwards. Just come up to the front and say your name to speak. Everybody is addressing the committee, not each other. I ask that everybody be respectful. And if a number of you are here on the same application, if you could not repeat what other people have said, if your feeling is the same as them, just agree with them, just in an effort to save some time. I want to hear everybody's comments. I want to get, you on the record if you've been here to speak on something. Okay, after the public, then we'll go back to the applicants to address any questions, comments that were raised during the public session. And I think that does it. There are printouts of the agenda up on the table here. I am not taking everything in order. Reboot West Village laid over their application today. So if anybody's here on that, we will not be hearing that this month. And Sofia's Bagels LLC, doing business as Hudson Bagels at 535 Hudson Street, withdrew their application today. So we will not be hearing that one. If you're here on that, you do, and that's the only one you're here for, you do not need to stay for it. So the first application we will be hearing is Sushiro, the Hand Rolls Bar Inc. at 168 7th Avenue South. This is a tavern wine for a sushi restaurant at a previously unlicensed location. So I'll wait. Okay. So the next application, the client is on the way, so we'll call that one back up again. The next application is RAAGI Inc. doing business as Mint Masala at 95 MacDougal Street. This is a restaurant wine. You could come up. Go ahead. Oh, okay.
Good evening. My name is Sam Park. I'm the representative.
Just speak closer to it and louder so everybody can hear you.
Good evening. My name is Sam Park. I'm the representative. I'm here for the owner with the new ownership.
All right.
You have
Take it out.
Yeah, you can take it out and hold it if you want to, but
this is much better.
okay.
This is the transfer new ownership, and then here is our next door owner, new owner. And this is existing for restaurant wine license. And it's gonna be all the same menu, same method of operations. It's gonna be into Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. And Friday, Saturday, it's gonna be 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. And it's gonna be the same thing, 9 table, 18 seat. and we only play for background music, and there will be no outside sitting outdoor.
Okay, one second. If I had anything. So it's 11 to 12 Sunday to Thursday, 11 to 2 Friday and Saturday. There's no outside. You close all doors at all times.
Yes.
And it's the same way it's been operating since
Correct.
2015. You're
2015.
okay. I don't think I have any other questions. Does anybody from the committee have anything? You have,
Yeah, I just want to let you know, when you file, you'll need to correct. You've marked on your questionnaire that it's not located in a historic district. You are in fact in a historic district. LPC will need to approve exterior change, things like that. I just want to make sure you're aware of it.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure. No, there's no outdoor sitting.
okay, and they understand that the hours are closing hours, all patrons out, doors closed, everybody.
Yes, we
out.
do.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Luck. Okay, the next application we're going to call is Hungry Llama LLC at 679 Washington Street. This is a restaurant wine application for a cafe co-working space, previously unlicensed location. And you can do this, there's a dial midway down there that if you want, or you want to just hold it, you can do that too.
Thank you. Hello. My name is Natasha Uppel. My business partner, Daniel Salazar, and I are here representing our company, Hungry Llama LLC, trade name Village Agora, for a restaurant, wine, and beer license. Village Agora is a marketplace cafe and was specifically designed in response to the collective desires we have uncovered from our neighbors. In our conversations with locals, we repetitively heard the following needs: more coffee and quick bite options on the far west side, healthy options for children, somewhere for a drink after dinner, availability of fresh items like produce and flowers, and most importantly, businesses with more of a community impact. We were overwhelmed by the amount of community support we received, with our over 150 signatures collected and a letter of support from the Charles Street Association. Our location, 679 Washington Street, is over 1,600 square feet, and our proposed occupancy is 70 people. Our proposed hours are 7 a.m. to midnight daily, and the music volume will always be kept at a background level to allow for conversation. Additionally, Daniel or myself will serve as on-premise managers, and our staff will be trained to card customers and help maintain the security of the cafe.
While great coffee is the focus of our business, we also have a full restaurant kitchen serving wholesome meals all day. Also within the space, we will have unique vendors like the florist with ready-to-go bouquets and other artist displays for sale, as well as seasonal vendors like specialty hot chocolate and homemade ice cream. We are also working with some local farms to have seasonal produce and fruit available. With my over 10 years of hospitality and marketing experience and Natasha's experience at the corporate level of management, we are confident in our vision for Village Agora. As you can see, our goal is to provide a comfortable home-like environment to enjoy a meal and make meaningful connections with other community members. We love the West Village's sense of community and are thrilled to be a part of it. Thank you to all the board and community members who are considering our application.
Great, thank you. So is this space the corner space that was the, no?
No,
Which space is this?
It's midway down. It's right next to the garage. There's like a,
Used to be a dry cleaner.
It used to be,
The dry
okay, so it's
cleaner.
right, it's one further south from the grocer. It's further
there's a
south.
deli, there's another one, and then us.
Okay. And are you installing bifold doors in there, or does it,
Yes, we do have doors that open.
are they already there? Or are you installing this?
Yes, they're already there. The previous storefront was damaged.
Okay. And then how is the space used? Is it a co-working space or explain just,
Yeah, so it is an all-day cafe open to the public at all times. We have 2 meeting rooms in the back that are available to rent by the hour, but if they're not rented, they're just communal space seating.
So the whole space is open to the public. If somebody wants to reserve the meeting room, they can reserve the meeting room, but
Exactly.
at all times, the space is open. So it's not,
It's not really a co-working space.
Okay.
It's more of a cafe.
okay. And, will you have wait staff or,
No, you would order and then we'd bring it to you seated, or you'd grab it from the service bar.
okay, and there's no outside
No outside.
seating, so you're not serving anybody through those.
No
windows
seating or
or
service.
Anything like
Mm.
that. Music is background only,
Only recorded background.
and, okay, and then you're looking to stay open till midnight, 7 days a week. Did you talk to neighbors that live right there? I don't,
I did. Yeah, in our application, I think we got like 180 something signatures. I would say at least 150 of those were within 2 to 3 blocks, and then some just other West Village people who walked by.
okay. Anybody from the committee?
Thank you.
Hey, is it on?
Yeah.
Oh, good. So, I didn't see any price points on the materials that you sent in. Tell us a little bit about the price.
I'll let Daniel set that one.
Yeah.
And we did actually set one.
We sent it in with one with.
We were asked for one, so we.
It wasn't on the materials that were.
Yeah, we sent it, we emailed it in last week, but we'll definitely speak to it.
We're very familiar with the cafes in the area, so everything's gonna be relatively the same price as far as espressos and cappuccinos. But the food being concerned is supposed to be more of a local place that doesn't have really the fine dining experience that you can find up and down the block. It's meant to be anywhere, really should be under $30, with the exception of those special curated dinners we might want to have in the future.
Okay, are either of you, connected to the owners of the, commercial condominium?
There are landlords.
So you're landlords, but you don't have a business relationship or personal relationship? Okay, thank you. And Donna, we really need to talk about the doors, because even though, I live at West Village Houses further down, but you're facing several West Village Houses buildings there. And I recognize that many of my neighbors had signed on to your petition, but other neighbors, including people who are also in the Charles Street Block Association, were very concerned about getting those doors closed, because you have a lot of families right across the street. So,
Yeah.
Donna, what are we gonna do about the
Definitely.
doors?
Happy to speak to that. The purpose of the doors is really more so for the warmer weather. By the time that we're open, it will be cooler weather, so we really don't foresee this until next spring. And again, the music level will always be ground level, and there's no outdoor seating, so we don't foresee a lot of noise spilling out, but we're happy to meet the community where you need us to in terms of, closing those doors.
And just one addition too,
Yeah.
we do plan on some of the warmer days too. We have the bifold door that opens towards the coffee bar, so that we can just serve espresso and coffee items, non-alcoholic items, right, to people that are walking on the street.
so I think what Katie's asking is, can you close those doors at 9 o'clock at night?
Yes, we're happy to meet the community.
And I think one of the other, if we're on into times, do you need to close at 12 o'clock, 7 days a week? It's pretty residential around there, and we have gotten a few letters of people asking. if
That's
you could-
definitely a preference, but specifically the weekend is really what we asked at midnight for. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, yeah.
So,
I'm happy to go up to 11 on the weeknights.
or 10 on, during the week, Sunday to Thursday, 10, and,
That sounds, yeah, Sunday to Thursday, 10, yes, weekends, midnight.
okay, Bob, you have.
Yeah, so just in terms of storefront, so you're taking the storefront that used to be the cleaners?
Mhm.
Okay, and that's really like a two fronts, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's another front, and then there's the deli on the corner. Okay, did someone open up in the other front?
There definitely is somebody leasing the space, but it's not running yet.
Okay.
I think
Did-
they might have applied.
They might have applied to this as well, maybe a few months ago.
They did.
Yeah, so.
Okay, all right.
They were.
Yeah. Every single storefront in this building is now licensed. So, okay,
Oh.
thank you. I just wanted that explanation. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Anybody else from the committee?
Yeah, the committee is luckily, we covered many of the things I wanted to ask about, but one thing I still want to ask about, I recognize you said there were like 180 signatures. I didn't get a chance to look closely at the petition. I'm glad that you went out 2-3 blocks. That's great because, as Katie said, it will affect people. I'm specifically interested in, have you had conversations with the people in your own building, in 680 across the way,
Mhm.
in whatever that is?
60 and
Oh, 680.
and the one on
5
West
10th
10th.
or whatever, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, we specifically went to like the 6 immediate buildings around us.
Okay.
And we took to their at least managers, doormen, or someone that we could get in contact with, and then definitely a couple residents that were willing to spend some time talking to us.
Okay, so I would point out that in the future, because you seem like young people who might be doing this, where there are boards,
Mhm.
co-op condo boards, you probably want to reach out to the boards directly. So, thank you.
So there's some inconsistency in your paperwork. It says in one place you're a restaurant and other places you're a tavern.
Yeah,
So
so
which ones are you?
the first notice we had sent in said Tavern. That was completely my mistake. We didn't have our menu ready at the time. So I didn't think there was a difference, but we definitely do classify as a restaurant based on our menu, and purpose of the place really doesn't, the alcohol really pairs either with the food or the other experiences we have. It's not necessarily a bar that you would just go and grab a drink and sit at.
Because I mean, the second questionnaire you sent in is still inconsistent because it says that the menu meets the minimum legal food requirements, which that's not a restaurant. That's a tavern.
No,
That's
it's,
what's
we
checked
do
off.
meet. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what the specific question is, but I think we checked off that the menu is, does meet the requirements of a restaurant.
No, what you checked off on the second 30-day notices, it says the menu meets the minimum legal food requirement, which is a tavern license.
Okay, I think we read that as minimum food requirement for restaurant level.
No, that would be a full food menu. Full kitchen run by a chef cook. That's the definition.
Yeah,
of
so
a
we
restaurant.
definitely have a chef, and we will have food, breakfast, lunch, and lunch, like a lunch dinner menu that will carry into the night.
So you should send a corrected notice then, because that's.
I'll send a corrected notice, and we did
Consistent.
send in the menu with prices as well, but I'll make sure that goes in as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for liking.
Anybody else from the committee? Is there anybody from the public here on this application? Okay, so just to clarify, you're gonna close the doors at 9 p.m.
Mhm.
The hours are Sunday to Thursday, 10 p.m., Friday and Saturday midnight. That means everybody, patrons out, everything closed up.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, the next application is going to be Sedona Club, 39 Clarkson. On premise, private members. Okay. Or you know what, can I just move on to one more and then, yeah. So the next one, Arthur and Sons LLC, 626 Hudson Street. This is a restaurant wine.
No, I mean.
Good evening. Joseph Levy here, on behalf of Arthur and Sons Pizza LLC. I have with me my client, Joe Isidori, the principal on the application. Joe's in the neighborhood, has restaurants in the neighborhood, liquor licenses in the neighborhood, and has for years. We are looking to do an asset sale here at 626 Hudson Street. It's currently Brunetti's Pizzeria Brunetti. We are looking to essentially transfer this license, keep a beer and wine license, and keep all the stipulations that Pizzeria Brunetti had. Same layout, same seat count,
Similar concept in terms of, pizza focused restaurant. No major construction here, nothing like that. The hours of operation, Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. There's an outdoor area in the yard. Sunday through Thursday, we'll close at 9:30. Friday and Saturday, we like to close at 11. Again, these are the hours that existed, seat count that existed, everything that existed from the current tenant. Inside on the ground floor, we have 11 tables with 22 seats, 1 bar with 6 seats. The outdoor yard is 7 tables with 14 seats total. You'll notice in terms of outreach, we have 267 signatures, including 180 from very close proximity, including a neighbor directly upstairs in this building and many of the neighbors from the neighboring buildings. If you have any questions, we're here to answer them for you.
Okay, so the first question I have is, where's the certificate of occupancy for that rear yard?
It's a good question, and that's something that we're working on at the moment as well. There is an active C of O for the space, but it does not include the rear yard.
Rear yard on.
So we've already engaged an architect to look into this, and we're happy to stipulate that we will do whatever's necessary to.
You won't use the rear yard until you have that. That rear yard is not used until you have that.
Well, it's been used for.
There's not,
you know,
but just because somebody's using it without permission doesn't mean we continue using it without permission.
I hear you. And we're doing our best to legalize it as quickly as possible.
So you're asking us to opine on something that there's nothing showing me that that's an allowable use back
I'm
there.
asking you to do what the board has done historically, where we're happy to stipulate that we will undertake to make sure that it's legalized.
Then you can come back for an alteration on it when it's legalized.
I mean, is that they will approve of the Christian sign and not that, that's really long. I'm not sure the clock for the business can't pay rent. Yeah, it's not legal and they're not gonna approve it, it's not. So what do I do? It's up to you. If you go out the backyard, then we'll do it. If you don't, then doesn't matter. And I give them a time frame on it, like, because I'm gonna open in January, so I'm out, that's a custom. I'm going to open in January and then on to back in the spring. Hopefully that will resolve by then, right? When weather comes, if it's resolved by then yes, they're saying we can come back and do an alteration. So that's for an alteration in 6 months. So we don't have a choice. That's it. Jeez, don't do that. Okay. All right, so here's the story. So the reality is this place is not going to be ready to open until the winter anyway, and the backyard won't be able to be used then anyway. So we will stipulate that we will undertake to correct and include the backyard. At such time that we do that, we'll come back here for an alteration to include the backyard, and it won't be used until then. Yeah, hopefully we
Okay.
get that remedy by spring,
Okay,
which is a good amount of time between now and
so the current stipulation is going to be no use of the backyard,
we will.
and then you will come back to
Yeah,
apply
we
for
would
backyard.
like it noted that we'll come
Right.
back for an alteration once.
Right,
that's
You
done.
intend,
Yeah.
you intend to get it legalized so that you can use it.
That was our intention from the beginning, so.
So just so you know, I mean, I will go to the public on this, but we've gotten letters from people of complaints about this 4 or 5 years on that rear yard, because it's a donut back there with residential windows all up above it. So,
We've engaged an architect to look at various solutions as well.
right, but we're still gonna have a conversation even when you come back. That doesn't.
For sure, and just so you know, you're aware, we've spoken to a number of those people whose apartments do look at that rear yard as well.
Okay, so,
Yeah, just so we're clear, we've been seeing this for a long, long time, okay? We need 2 means of egress from that rear yard.
There is too many.
All right, so that's, well, you'll see that's the critical thing. Okay. You need to speak into the microphone, but anyway, that's, the only time you've ever seen it legalized is when
I
there's,
think the current tenant took the proper steps just out of just not willing to. It can be done. We've looked at it. So
okay,
we're going to be we're a good tenant. We're a great neighbor. We've been in a neighborhood a long time. We're going to do the right thing. So we'll get it done.
So just on that note, I'm looking at the diagram and the rear yard just isn't directly behind,
It's
you're behind the storefront, correct?
yeah, it's tricky. So it's one landlord, two buildings.
Right, so,
And the backyard extends in the back of both of that landlord's buildings.
and
so-
that's why I bring that up, because that's the complication.
Yeah, because
Is
one of
that
the
your-
egresses is in a different address.
No, but your backyard isn't in your building,
It's a part of it is,
but it's not all.
not all.
What that's therein makes it a much more complicated
No, I understand. that.
problem that may not be resolvable in an easy fashion, because you're going across two, even if, though it has the same owner, your entrance exits aren't in the same lot. So you actually would need to get two buildings changed to allow use of the rear
If
yard.
it's not resolvable, it's not resolvable. We're not gonna deal
Well,
with
but
it.
I understand, I'm just bringing that up because it's not as straightforward.
Which is why it's never been dealt with
Seems-
previously, most likely. He's already engaged an architect to do it and he hasn't even gotten the keys for the space yet. So he's trying to do what he can to get it done as soon as possible in the right way.
Is anybody else from the committee? Brian? Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of curbside sheds on that block. And you're not applying for any of
Right.
that. There's also, it seems like all your neighbors have sidewalk seating, sidewalk cafes. Now, are you planning on that?
We don't have any plans for that in this application, nor do we have any plans for that period. As you know, there is going to be a program at some point in New York City. When that is, we don't know. What it looks like, we don't know. And whether we'd even qualify for it, we don't know.
I think you're referring to the shed in general. I personally, as an operator, have not put sheds in. Just. Yeah,
Gotta speak to the mic, because
Yeah.
nobody back here
so,
can hear.
so I think you're referring to a shed. Okay, and two separate things, shed, cap, and sidewalk seating.
Two separate
Currently,
things.
there's 8 seats outside, with the current tenant. You know, we'll come back in the spring again for that as well. We're not going to use it when we open, just like we did with our other restaurant. As far as sheds go, I'm an operator that doesn't use sheds. And you could ask the Jane Street, Block
No,
Association.
I live right
but,
near there, so
yeah.
I,
Yeah,
and to that point, I am just gonna say, you have to do it. When you sign the stipulations and you expanded onto Jane Street at your current place, they're very clear. 2 tops parallel to the build. I'm just saying that's what it said. You've got 4 tops with 2 seats on triangles, just saying. Saying.
that's far from true.
That was done that way for a reason, because of that sidewalk and because of what we heard from people. That, I know you don't agree with that, but that's why we wrote it that way. It was very clearly written that way for that reason, so that it would not be taking up the space it's taking up.
Very well.
I just want to be clear. I thought that restaurants were no longer allowed to put garbage bags out. I thought you had to put lidded cans out. Is this correct?
Yes.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Yes, you have to use garbage pails, which we do in all of our current operations.
So I think you should clean up the application, because you talk about garbage bags in a couple of places. Just to let you.
Garbage bag. Garbage bags.
Yeah, you have a page of addendum that is about handling the garbage, the noise and the traffic. And it talks about
That's
bags and the garbage.
just if you need to.
You'll need to-
In cans. If that's our issue here, then let's move on.
Okay. Back to.
No, I also have one other small separate item that I just wanna, that's in the same category of not being sure and things. So as you know, there's been a lot of issues lately around ADA bathrooms in the neighborhood in the West Village. Since these are bathrooms in the basement, they're obviously down a walk down, they're obviously not ADA compliant. I'm assuming that is okay under the current law because you're not renovating the
That's
whole
correct.
place, right?
That's
Okay.
correct.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we have some people here from the public on this. If you want to come up, Zach Weinstein. Anybody else, if you haven't filled out a card and you want to speak, come up, you can fill out a card.
Hi, Zach Weinstein, 92 Horatio Street. The one comment I had was I'm concerned about the fact that this operator is now expanding into 3 spaces within a 1-block radius. I'm not sure it's in the public interest for one operator to be controlling multiple spaces within such a small area. Since this is a beer and wine license, the public interest standard doesn't apply, I realize. But I did want to raise that concern, and I wanted to ask the applicant if they have any plans to expand to additional spaces in the immediate neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kate Bostock.
Yes. Hi, Kate Bostock from Jane Street Block Association. So I appreciate that there's recognition that there's no C of O for that back garden and there'll be no seating there unless there's a C of O. But I will say that over the years, any dining back there, even if even the current stipulations that are in place, did not mitigate the quality of life issues that residents have in that donut. I sent pictures in an email earlier to the board. Those are just residential apartments and people can't go to sleep when people are dining back there. So it's a significant issue. So we'll see what the city says about the CFO. But Jane Street Block Association has no issue with the application other than the rear yard. So great, thank you.
Okay, I think anybody else? I think that's it. I think so we're 11 closing, 12 Friday, Saturday, no outdoor seating whatsoever. Quiet background music
And trash cans.
and trash cans. You'll update your information. Okay, that does
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. Yeah, that was the quote. Zach does want that. Do you plan to expand? Do you have plans now for expanding further in the neighborhood? It's just a question. Either way, I mean, because the other, I mean, I think it's, you understand people are saying, you've got the 2 spaces. Fine. Can't answer that question. The next application, Shashira, the hand rolls, are they here? No.
My name is Sam Pang. I'm the representative. I'm here for Sushiro, the Handler Bar INC, and we are applying for your wine license. And it's going to be in the we're going to put in the setting the 3 table, 15 seat, 1 bar with 8 stools, and the hour of operation is going to be 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. 7-day daily. And also we're gonna just play only background music and will be no outdoor sitting. And currently we're in the renovations, so we'll be open by how long?
Like December?
Probably December
Okay.
to when opening.
And what is your experience operating a restaurant, or can you speak to that a little?
So I'm the operator, but
You need to speak up to the microphone.
I'm the president, but I have partners that runs the restaurant. We have a sushi chef that's been in the business for 15 years. We have a restaurateur that runs Ben's Crab in Long Island and Wild Ginger as well. They are the other partners in this business. So I am primary because I live close by in the house kitchen.
Okay, so are there more principals then? Because you're the only principal that's listed on here.
So only the
Speak into the microphone, please.
he's the only principal.
Yes. I'm the only one, but I'm employing them as my business partner. we are not finalized yet, but they will be they will be
With financial interest or,
with financial interest, I guess.
So-
No, like with, there will be employees.
place?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Bathroom, there's a separation with the bathroom and the food prep area.
Yes.
It's not. Okay. It's not a strict wall there. It doesn't look like on the drawing. It,
Yeah, this is the preliminary draft. We will upgrade it and we have an interior design to final.
make sure that that's closed off. Okay. Does anybody from the committee have anything?
I guess. So.
Hand him the mic.
So you'll stipulate to that, we can have a stipulation that the bathroom access will not go through the food service and food prep area, food.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you going to put a new sign in?
Outside or?
Yeah,
Yeah, by the,
you said no in one of your answers.
like a small sign that similar to what was existing, just a little.
Saw the signage be changed and you said no. So the signage will be changed.
Because this only a sign that says salon, we have to take it
Yeah,
down.
I know. So you have to say yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
Okay, anybody else from the committee? Is anybody here from the public on this application? Okay, I think so. You realize the hours mean everybody's out. That's hard close for your patrons. You can be cleaning up the inside, but all the patrons are out by the
But-
by the 11 PM.
Yes,
Okay, very good. Good. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, member. Thank you.
Okay. The next application is going to be Sedona Club. Or they, all right, you know what? Yeah. Okay, so Miozio LLC doing business as N4 Nova.
Hi there, Eric Gallion, I'm attorney for Miozio and LLC. These are the principals, Flats and Mackenzie. This is, beautiful. It's located at 34 8th Avenue. The names and foreign road. Just to address that, we're looking at the licensing issues with the procuring team who currently owns on for some of them who are the investors in this new project. There's no change in method of operation, same hours, same menu. There will be some revisions to it. They're going to add some with some coffee. We record we did reach out to the James Street Block Association and we're discussing this with them. We haven't reached any final stipulations, but we did send an application and discussed some of their concerns. And I don't know if somebody's here. We discussed this with Kate Bostock. I don't know if he's here right now. Okay. So yeah, that's it. This is an institution. We're aware of the issues with the neighbor. We're aware of the issues with the sheds, and obviously that's something that's being handled by the new outdoor restaurants
Well,
plan. So this will actually, do you guys want to say any words about what you're planning there?
Sure. This is very much meant to continue the lineage of what the space currently is, which is Italian in its nature. And my mother was from Italy. She was born and raised there. Came here, met my father, who's a Jew from Brooklyn, and they lived on 5th Avenue and 11th Street for 30 years. This is meant to be an extension of her and her living room, and it's refined, it's elegant. In no way does it pander to any of the current tropes of what a loud cocktail bar meant to be. This is meant to be incredibly elegant and refined, and I think it's got a feminine touch too in my mind, and I'm excited to see what happens.
so who are the principals in this?
So Matt's and Mackenzie are the two primary principals, they're the men who
Especially they have.
have, I don't know, that's,
One thing, the last
Sure.
time they were here as the principals, they basically are not. So I just want to know, you know, that the primary principals, the ones that hold more than 50% or 80% of this are the ones standing in front of me, because this is not what happened last time. They came here and stood in front of me.
I understand that's actually not true, but
It's true. That's 100% true.
so it's not actually not true. They have investors, which are a number of investors, and they'll have an earning. They're not made of money. These guys are entrepreneurs, they're young entrepreneurs who are getting a chance from people who have worked with a number of operators in Brooklyn who are investors with them. They earn more percentages. That's not, it's not, you know, but as far as voting and as far as management and control, that's not it. Investors, the answer.
So last time they were here, they told me they weren't opening a sports bar, and the name of the place is Rocco's Sports and Recreation. They were very clear that it was a cultural institution to bring people of the community together, would not be sports, and there's basketball hoops, open windows all over the place and everything else. So I'm a little bit worried that they were opening this wonderful Italian restaurant in a neighborhood that did have a wonderful Italian restaurant that you never heard a sound come out of, based on my experience with these two applicants in front of me not that long ago. So please feel free to clear all this up.
Yes, those are very valid concerns. And just to address the nature, I mean, it's a world sport focused bar and restaurant. They were approved, they don't have answers for what is happening and how they've dealt with it, also including working out all the issues with the neighbors, working out with the precinct, working out all of those things with respect to, I mean, do you guys want to speak to that? Okay.
Its intentions, Rocco Sports and Recreation, are still very much based in the fact that it's a restaurant that serves the community in terms of being a place where you can also watch sports. It was never our intention to be something where you would have what it currently is, which is what the people are using it for. We're trying to bring that back. We still go to the farmers market every week. We still give to charity. The intentions of it are not malicious or intentional to be something that it is not, which it is still a restaurant that shows sports. We're speaking to the neighbors actively. We're doing our best to mitigate all of their issues. We're doing a ton to try and bring back what we intended to be when we were in front of you not so long ago.
Yeah, I can speak a bit more about some of the repairs and issues and with sound and mitigation.
Anything else is not exactly how this application was presented to us when you came before us.
If I could speak to that. It just for the record, the application did say they would have 6 TVs. It said they would have no large, I mean,
Have TVs, they were very clear that it was not going to be basically exactly what I see was what they said they weren't going to be.
well, and I say this because I know these guys, well, but this place was a lot more popular than they thought. There was abundant space there for a long time, and it opened up and people came, and it is a restaurant that serves the sporting community exactly what they said it was. Now, if it's perceived that way, like that, and they can speak to that, the steps they're taking to mitigate all those.
Which has to do with the person that it's expanded, recreation and sports, but all right, so let's move on. Roadbed. You've got the roadbed as part of this.
So I just want to go back because Donna had pointed this out to me when we looked at your questionnaire on West Third. It says names of all principals, and it only has the 2 of you listed. On the ALJ report, you're listed as 2% owners. And so Donna's point is that you guys did not fill out our questionnaire truthfully.
I mean, they have the firm and
To speak into the microphone.
I can speak to this without reviewing evidences. Their ownership, they have to go out and then the ownership increases. That's all the stuff that
Hold on. Principals listed on that license. Those principles were presented to the ALJ for the 500-foot hearing report. They were not presented to us.
Okay.
They are the principal, but it's not like it's 5%. It's not like it's 10%. It's not like it's 50%, it's 98%.
I understand your concern,
And this is,
it's not, you're not quite from how transactions work and how entrepreneurs get this thing.
about truthfulness and filling out our materials.
Absolute truthfulness. And
So
so
there's going to be no other principles except.
about 100 other principles on a very large cap table. And there's going to be an onion, there's going to be notes. That's how this works. As far as management and controlling its voting rights, these are the two guys. This is a very common thing. I don't think when big restaurateurs come in, the biggest restaurateurs, their entire cap table comes to the committee board to plead their case. These are the main guys. There's no.
Don't forget somebody who's not just 2%.
That's not consistent with what you filled out and the material presented to the ALJ the last time.
It certainly is consistent. It's look, we can move on from this. We're voting like very kind of very complex legal answer.
It's not the
Rational consulting will work in frequent oversight and business development and will dedicate about 50 to 60 hours per week.
Corporate oversight and business development for the company.
And
He's not on the flip. He lives in Florida.
I'm just saying though, that these are
Just saying that you're wrong.
questions.
Excuse me.
What are we wrong about?
You're wrong about your position. You're saying that a person has oversight.
When we ask all principals,
You want a table of every single principle. Is this the new policy of the?
excuse me, is 98% ownership?
I don't know. Maybe we should clarify. Maybe the legislature could make us clarify. Maybe we should clarify.
98% ownership and you're listed as a principal on a license between two people.
Managing members, that's correct.
This is on here.
Officers and managing members. There's a very long top table, but SLA has rules about who has more than 10%. If there's 10 or more members, you list the people who own 10 or more perception.
That's the percentage that you're required to notify on a corporate change.
And a corporate change, why don't you tell me?
You tell me, we're good practice.
Look, this is 80%. It's not a political organization.
Okay, is it 80%?
If there's a change, if there's 10 or more shareholders, the chairman has 10 or less percent, you don't have to report the change. If that's in the holding co stipulations, when you file a holding company stipulation with the liquor license, that's the law. Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, so at least with regards to this application, is Mr. Adam Fulton going to have any ownership in this in terms of the principal in the license?
Yes.
And how much, what's the percentage of ownership is Mr. Fulton going to have in this application?
I don't know the exact percentage, but I believe it's around 10 or 12%.
Okay, and then Mr. Mosley, what's going to be the ownership of Mr. Mosley's here?
I believe it's the same.
Okay, and how much is it going to be your percentage?
We're starting with 10% and then. Yes. Yes, we believe because the cap table has been fully worked out yet.
So the table had 10%, is somewhere else.
There's a number of investors. The current investment group and for they'll have a restaurant company, their investors. There's about 50 to 100 other people, and then they have to raise money for for each of these projects individually. So there will be a cap table, but this is all goes directly to SLA, and they put them on the cap table. We send in hold co steps. We do a whole thing. If something has to change, so that's a reportable percentage. We send in a corporate change endorsement. We do everything perfectly by the book. As far as management, operation, and control, it's the two of them. To insinuate that we would be working for other people when the idea and the dream to own the business and
I didn't ask for ask for percentages. That's all I asked for.
Sure.
Okay, so
do understand the concern, just so you know, I want to make this clear. It's the two of them.
the concern is entertained. Hold on a second. The concern is that when you were the last time, you guys acted as if you were the principals 100%, okay? And you only owned 2%, and the other two gentlemen that owned 98% have a disciplinary record, and that was your way of getting around the disciplinary record by having those two gentlemen indicate to us that they will be only principals. The other two, which own 98%
weren't even in the application. We didn't even know they existed, okay? So found out the back way by finding out, using our own due diligence. So that's why there's so many questions here tonight. Now, you answered those questions, the 10, the 10, the 10, the 10. My next question has to do with the roadway, okay? The stipulations of belonging space, this is a transfer. The stipulations that belonging space indicate there's nothing outside except for sidewalk seating. That's it. So those are the stipulations currently. Are you going to take down the roads? Because I see it in the application. What is the story with the roadbed?
We're going to take it down as soon as you want.
So the roadbed's going down. Is it going to be sidewalk seating?
Yes, we would like to have sidewalk seating. A small amount of.
Is the sidewalk seating application?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and the seats don't seem to be accurate either to what was there before. So if you're operating the way it was before, which the floor plans that were submitted are in Foyer's floor plans. So I presume you're keeping the same seating arrangement that they have, which is more like 45 to 50 seats. So, and then right now you're not having any outdoor seating, you're removing the roadbed.
Yes, we're definitely going to remove the roadbed.
So.
The shed, you mean? Shed.
It's a roadbed,
They're moving
you know,
shed.
I don't care what people.
What else?
So I have for those applications, I'll defer to you, Madam Chair, on this. Now, the one I'm looking at, the addendum for outdoor seating speaks only of a roadbed and not of any sidewalk seating. So I do think we need to get details on that nailed down because I'm sure it's an honest error when you sort of see the application, but it just isn't. So
That should be sidewalk.
That's not what the application says, and that's not what they have now, and you're saying it's operating the same way, and you can't transfer a roadbed, and you can't transfer the sidewalk actually right now either, so basically you have nothing outside. That's
So-
just it.
So with when all of the roadbeds are removed or whatever happens, they're gonna have to come back anyways for approvals for that. Obviously, it'll be a much more streamlined application, but they're still gonna have to come to get approval. So they're willing to remove that shed, and that was one of the concerns of the neighborhood association. They're fully willing to remove that.
Anybody else? Katie?
Yeah. Not so much on this application, but in the other location, you promised to be contributing to charities. And how have you documented the charitable contributions which you promised us you would make from that business? How have you documented that?
Respond to a team in Harlem, and a team that's part of a bigger group of extracurricular kids, and we have provided them jerseys, balls, a small fee of money. I would rather not say publicly how much we're completely. Yes, that's still our intention, and it always has been, and it always will be. Sorry?
You just use the word intention. Have you actually done it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So don't use the word intention. It doesn't have a lot of documentation.
The director of club operations has all the documentation.
You could have put.
Documentation.
Yeah, document. Oh, okay.
Okay, so anybody else from the committee? Go ahead, Cormac.
yeah, I have just two other things. First of all, so the hours on this application are the same as the existing hours for existing business. Is that right? Okay. And the other thing, Madam Chair, if you could just clarify, so I know we'll agree later, where we ended up with the outdoor seating, is my understanding correct that there is no outdoor seating in this application? They will have room until they come back with an application for outdoor seating at a later time. Right? Okay, thank you. Okay, and just so we're clear, at least in terms of what the stipulations were before, one is a lounge, tavern, a sports bar, no televisions, no dancing, no backyard or outdoor area, background music only, no DJs, live music, the typical ones. And then if there are any doors or windows that open out on to the sidewalk, they'll close at 10 o'clock. Okay. There's nothing to have a rule, they're closed at all times, okay?
Yeah.
All right, That's it. I'm just going on. And then the last one is there's 9 limited drink specials. Those are the stipulations that were with the license previously. Okay.
That does it.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
thanks. Are there questions or?
Any public questions?
Sure.
Come on. Sorry. Go ahead, Zach. Hmm? Send it into the community board. Is that, yeah.
Hi again. About that, Jane Street Block Association, within some of the shareholders of record, we're obviously concerned in general, but particularly with the hours. So the 2 a.m. closing, I believe it's Friday, Saturday that they're asking for, and 1 a.m. on other nights. We'd like to see that move to 11 to 11, Sunday to Thursday, and 11 to 12, Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
I also have a question, well, I have some concern about what possible brunch service, because they're starting breakfast service at the location, but it's a cocktail bar, so I'm not sure how that works.
Okay. Yep. No, you're not. You're going to hear from everybody from the public, then we go to you.
Yeah, hi, Zach Weinstein, again, 92 Horatio Street. Yeah, I just want to agree with or second what the Ted said about the hours, which do seem late. I guess this is a transfer, but the 1 a.m. Tuesday and Wednesday, 2 a.m. Thursday and the Saturday seems late for what's being described as a fine dining, family-inspired restaurant. And the other concern is that although this is technically, being technically transferred, the principals are associated with the Garrett Group. They're with the Garrett Group, which operates the Garrett at 296 Bleecker Street, Bandits at 44 Bedford Street, and Rocco Spirits at 1 West 3rd, as you've heard. There have been serious noise complaints about all 3 of these establishments. And I'm concerned that there is reason to think that the operation will not continue to be the same, exactly the same as the previous occupant. I'm not sure what can be done about this, but I would ask that the hours be, some thought be given to the allowed hours here. And any other stipulations that could control possible noise issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public?
Should we respond?
Yep. To us.
So just to respond to
To us.
the two speakers, we've spoken them, and the operators are willing to curtail the hours as they to 1 a.m. as was discussed. And then I believe it was, I'll have to look through the hours. I think it was midnight Sunday through Wednesday, and then close at 1 a.m. on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So remove that extra hour, as well as remove the shed. That was a big point of contention. We're willing to do that as well.
The hours that they're willing to do are closing at 1 a.m. Sunday to Wednesday and
Sorry about that.
closing at night, Sunday to Wednesday, and 1 a.m. Thursday to Saturday.
Yes. And that's shown it both. They want to make sure that the good operators, they understand their concerns.
And 12.
Sorry?
The community was asking for 11 and 12. So that's your compromise on that one.
Yes, and also the shed, obviously it doesn't.
The shed isn't.
If they need to do outdoor, then they come back and they file the notices and do all that.
Okay, the bunch that people are concerned about.
So, yeah, Max is. We'll talk about the rest. We're not doing the breakfast service. This is just somebody can come in and get an espresso and then walk out. We're not trying to serve, we don't have capacity to do breakfast service in any sort of regard. This is more so we're looking at people down the hill, and people can come in, we have the register open and have, from upstairs or bathroom down the street come in and say, how's your moment? There's an espresso on your way. That's it. It's more so open for breakfast service.
So
Tons of cocktail out.
so just coffee and not food at all. Not really much.
It's not, yeah, brunch is. It's not, yeah. We understand, they understand the concerns within, I think that, I don't want to mention names, but some of the neighbors around there, and so that they'll have the capacity to be able to do full brunch service. They will have some like breakfast pastries, things like that, but they'll have coffee primarily.
Donna, I have, when it's Cormac done. We normally think that Thursday is not a weekend night. So whatever you do Sunday to Wednesday, you should be doing on Thursday. Friday and Saturday are the weekends. Children go to school on Friday. People go to work on Friday. We want Thursday quieter. So just a word to the wise, you should be consistent Sunday through Thursday.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
Again, we're going to be much more reserved than I think.
12 a.m. Sunday to Thursday and 1 a.m. Friday and Saturday or not? It's a yes or no.
We would prefer to have Thursday at 1 a.m. Words of advice, I would take them. We can take 12 o'clock on Thursdays.
What's that? Okay, I think anybody else from the committee?
Speak to.
Yeah, I was just gonna point out that the ALJ agreed with what we had just raised before, and that's why the last license was brought to the full board, because you guys didn't disclose the disciplinary history at all in multiple places, and that's why it was referred to the full board. There were also pending disciplinary proceedings at that time. So, I mean, that's, and this is consistent with my history and involvement here with Bob Ely's history, that engaging with the partners in the Garrett Group at 296 Sandwich LLC location. There was confusion about the stipulations. We had to involve the local precinct to resolve those issues. This is an ongoing issue over and over and over with every application, including the outdoor dining that was put in at Bandits, which there was an agreement on no outdoor dining. Again, significant back and forth that was inconsistent with what was presented to us. It's the same with Rocco's. Sports was not going to be mentioned, and suddenly it's in the name. So these are all things that you guys made representations to us about. And none of it, it's over and over, not consistent.
If you have anything to say.
Noted.
Okay. I think that does it. Thank you.
Very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Harry. The next application is going to be Flats LLC, 366 West 12th Street, also known as 767 Washington Street. Flats, the old tortilla flats for anybody who doesn't know that location.
I'm Mark Moore. I'm the attorney for Flats LLC. Flats LLC will be a restaurant that is open during the week. It will close at 1 a.m. During the weekend, it would like to close at 2 a.m. It'll be under the management of Jean-Georges Management. Jean-Georges Management is represented here tonight by John Mustafa, who's general manager, and Jean-Georges.
I would just say his name one more time. Just
Sorry, yes. John Mustafa.
Okay, thank you.
All right, the ownership of the flats will not be John George's name. It'll be Masala Marchman, who was the owner of Varick St. So his Planned Parents. Perhaps it was the proceeding state, and he does have
the clothing stores here as well. As a matter of fact, part of the reason that they're doing this is that apparently Garage and friends going back 30 years. Garage is never running these restaurants. He's managing them. It's a lot cheaper for his end. And as an example, there's Joji Kitchen, which is on 18th Street, which is Cucina and two other names. But it's Jean-Georges. It's high end. It's going to be tablecloth. It's I could have TVs. It's just going to have background music. It's that. Then was put on the application. If you have any questions, generally, you don't want to answer them.
Okay, my first question.
I like to say one thing. I made a mistake on the application. That's to be there's going to be a component. It's going to be sidewalk, no sheds, but it's not within the building line. I apologize for that. I don't in the application. I was running is that.
Okay, and there's no, on the 30-day notice, it said patio or deck and rooftop was checked off.
No, that's
Sidewalk.
a mistake. I'm
Patio.
sorry.
So
No.
there's no rooftop.
No, there's no patio. There's no.
I was wondering if it's the adjacent building that it's going into as well.
No.
It also backs, I think, goes all the way back to behind Chrome Flats, so, Chrome Hearts, so I was just wondering.
No.
I had concern over that, so there's no rooftop.
No. I apologize if it's on there.
Sitting,
It's on
awning on,
12th Street.
12th Street.
It's 10 seats for no tables. So that's what it is outside.
Okay, and then are you building the banquette out there, or is it just the shape of the diagram? Looks like there's some banquette being.
No, that's.
I'm just going by what I'm looking at. This looks like there's a banquette there. This is a table, this is a chair, but this curved thing looks like a banquette. So I'm just wondering if you're building anything there, because
No.
these look like chairs and tables.
No,
but this looks like a.
That's a preliminary drawing by an architect. It's not a banquet. If you want it's not.
So why people would ask that though, because these days people are building banquettes outside, so that's why I'm asking.
That's going to be a table for 4, the other 3 are a table for 2.
Okay, all right, so, so there's no rooftop, no patio, no deck, no banquette, background music only, there's no operable doors and windows aside from the entry door.
No,
So doors will be closed at all times.
yes.
Okay, I think that's it. And I have 12 tables, 46 seats and 1 bar with 10 seats.
Correct. A total of 56 seats, 46 being on tables, 10 being at the bar.
And outside, what time?
11 o'clock outside.
So, okay, so right now they're not taking sidewalk seating, but any sidewalk seating will end at 11 PM and there will be no road bed seating.
Turn away?
No road bed
No.
and no music outside.
No music, no. This is a high-end restaurant. It doesn't need music.
Okay, that's it for my questions. Anybody else from the committee? Well, go ahead.
Hey, I thought that we wanted to shut down outdoor dining at 10. A lot of. We'd like it to be earlier closing so that people can sleep.
There's no residential presence in this building. The owner has all the floors. So
Well, it's not necessarily the people in the building, it's all the people that surround the building and the apartment buildings that are across the street and in all directions.
I mean, this is only 11. Yeah, we don't even want 12 midnight. We're going to close it at 11 PM.
Go ahead.
I have 3 questions, but 3 categories. So if the committee is advising you that 10 o'clock is the closing of outdoors, I think if that's what you're hearing, I think would be a very good thing to agree to. And also your hours are quite late for this. This is a very quiet area. I'm sorry, this is my neighborhood, and I know other people here who live very close by. These are late hours for this kind of an area. So, really, I am encouraging you to pull back your hours outside and in. And I have more questions later, but I'll let others. Go right ahead. Just go ahead. So I want to know, another category of questions is about the outdoor seating. In the electronic version that I received of your application, there was outdoor seating requested on Washington Street and outdoor seating requested on 12th Street. In the application which you just gave us, the front page says you want seating on Washington Street, and you have another document in here about outdoor seating that's totally blank. So I think you've got to get your outdoor seating applications correct.
I didn't,
The one here says you're asking for outdoor seating on Washington Street.
that's all we're asking for. I don't know.
See for 12th Street, Washington Street, from our application.
I apologize for that. It's 12th Street.
So
So the seating, just to clarify, the seating is just on 12th Street.
Yeah, that's yes.
Right where it
It's
was
12th Street.
before.
We don't want to.
Okay, so it's just on 12th.
So we gotta get this correct. Well, yeah. And the one, I'm gonna ask another question. Currently, the front door is on Washington Street. It looks in your in your diagrams that you're moving it to 12th Street. Is the front door going to be on the other side? No?
I believe it will. I believe that they're moving it to 12th Street. Yes. No.
Wait.
No.
And the diagram, the diagram does show you're moving the door. I don't know how the community is going to feel about that.
It's on 12th Street. It's
Currently, it's on Washington Street.
It's currently on Washington Street. It's around the corner from where you have it indicated on this drawing. That may just be the architect again playing.
again. I think. Would it make a difference? Would you want it on?
It's not moved, right? Kate?
Yeah, it's on Washington Street because the 12th Street is a very residential, quiet place. You don't want Washington Street is more logical, even though there are lots of residences there.
With all due respect, Jojo, Jean-Georges, one of those places that.
You know what?
I don't have.
I'll tell you what the thing is with that. Jean-Georges will get a bunch of black cars come to drop people off at his lovely restaurant. And the difference is whether they're being dropped off in front of the door on Washington, on 12th Street or Washington Street. You know, we ask every applicant to come here, not based on who they are with what they present, but to give us the right materials. And if the door is on the other side of the street, people have concerns about where people are entering. I don't think it's too much to ask to have, if you're given drawings, to have them be accurate or say that they're not.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I thought it was on 12th Street. This is the indication I was given. But Jeremy told me he's going to call the architect right now to see what.
Currently, it's on Washington Street. A number of us walk our dogs, live near there and everything else, so we're pretty familiar with the location. So it's currently on Washington Street.
And do you have any information on the price points or the average check? I didn't see any.
We don't have the exact prices, but this place is not going to be cheap. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go to the public and finding out. So I have Zach Weinstein and Alessandra Sternberg, if you want to come up.
Hi, Zach Weinstein, 92 Horatio Street. My concern about this application is the nature of Chrome Hearts, the applicant. Chrome Hearts has stores in Aspen, Harness, Las Vegas, at Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas, at Mount even at the New York City store, which is just on the block from the proposed restaurant, so bouncers in black suits, and I've never seen them more than 2 to 3 customers inside at a time inside a huge space. I assume the operation is going to be in large part celebrity driven. I'm guessing that this restaurant could turn into a major noisy scene. This concern is amplified by the fact that they're asking for quite late closing times for this neighborhood. 2 a.m. Friday and Saturday, it was pushing it. Sunday through Thursday seems very late for a weeknight. I'm also concerned about private events. What stipulations are they planning to hold private events? How many? Under what circumstances? What kind of stipulations would they accept? I'd also like to know, how do they plan to manage lines, overflow patrons? If this is if there's celebrities here, if there's celebrity parking, if what kind of operation is it? And this brings up some other questions. Do any other Chrome Hearts locations elsewhere in the world have a restaurant associated with them? Or is this their first experiment with this kind of operation? Mario Waitman is, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is the applicant of record. He's the person listed on the application. He's not here. Will he be playing in this operation? If Jean George is just manager, can it be fired tomorrow, placed by somebody else? Who will actually dictate what kind of operation takes place here? And what kind of assurances do we have that they will be on site, accessible to the community to monitor the situation and respond to problems as they arise? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Alexandra Sternberg, and I live at 357-353, 359 West 12th Street, right across the street from where this is going to be. And I don't know, this is the first time I've been here. Nobody has reached out. My building, nobody in my condo building knew about this happening. So Chrome Hearts hasn't reached out to anybody that I know of. I'm going to tell you that all the parking is blocked off in front of my building and down the block because of construction of a mansion on the corner for the past 4 years. And because of Chrome Hearts, the store, I also know that people are very high end. They come in limos and the big black cars. And I know that in the summer and in the winter, I imagine with this restaurant being high end, people will come in their limos and their cars will park in front of my building because no parking is allowed because of the construction. And the limo drivers leave the engines idling the whole time. They wait for somebody to come out. I go outside. I ask them to turn their engines off in the summer, and they don't like to because they have to keep the cars cool for the patrons, the high-end patrons. I love a high-end restaurant. I love Jean George, but the noise from across the street from that restaurant comes into the building, and I don't like it, and it's going to be too noisy. And there is going to be a scene of the very rich people's cars just idling in front. So, thank you, and thanks for coming again. Go ahead. Wait, Dr. Smith, do you have a question for her? For Alessandra? No. Okay. Okay, we don't. Come on up. Yep.
Hello, I'm not gonna reiterate too much of it. We can you just Jonathan Kuhn and Michelle Herman.
Michelle Herman.
West 12th Street. We've lived for 35 years on the second floor at that street corner, facing Entwine, the former Tortilla Flats, and Chrome Hearts. Tortilla Flats was there for a long time. They were good neighbors. They have no sense of what Chrome Hearts does. I've been in the store once and couldn't figure out what it was, and never again. It's on either side of the street. Concerns that have already been expressed, noise and traffic remain concerns. It can be done without the door facing Washington Street, the narrow end of the building, had a double door in Tortilla Flats occupied the property, and that largely inhibited the noise issue. The idling thing, I don't know how you place that, but I do know that at the Chrome Hearts site, the bike lane is about 80% of the time filled with SUVs, double parked, and there's an unusable bike lane. You have the shed that belongs to Entwine that wasn't there when Tortilla Flats was on the elevated club, but during the pandemic, of course, and the running feet from there to the corner to the crosswalk is about 10 feet or something. if you have parcel, you'll have the crosswalk actually blocked on continuous basis, which often is the case now on both sides of the street with the residential building and the businesses that exist already. So it's almost often the accessibility for those crossing the street is impeded to the extent that there's no way to cross at that corner on foot. I'm passing it on now. And just one other thing, our building too had not been urged by the owners of the proposed facility. And I thought the building at 380 Restaurant.
Just because I know but I don't know the numbers. So are you on what corner are you on Washington Street?
We are on the southwest.
That's close. So
Apartment faces east towards on the second floor.
across the street,
Across the street.
Washington Street.
Put a line at the fix of Tortilla Flats. Overlapped. We're telling you about the 30 years.
Yeah.
But they were good neighbors. They gave to the local schools. They supported local causes. And they took calls if the noise got too loud.
Yeah. Could you do me one favor, just when you're done, can you just fill the speaker card is because we don't have one, can you fill it up? Where did you put it? There we go. Okay,
Can you hand us all of them?
yeah,
Thank you.
that would explain it. There we go. Thanks, go ahead. Okay, I just want to add, I'm on my building's co-op board and there's been no what's more in building. Same with the 3 of West Tri Street and your names come together and you'll show them. And I also did some outreach to from Hearts to their press person because I'm also a journalist and never heard back. It's been 2 weeks. I had hoped very much to have a conversation with them. I also wanted to mention that in addition to the problems the previous speaker outlined on 12th Street, that's a block that runs eastward and it's cobblestone and it's very crooked cobblestone. So there's an additional noise issue. Whichever way they configure their front door, there's going to be problems if limousines and large black cars going past. Thank you. Can I ask Michelle a question? Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Michelle, which do you think is better for the front door, Washington or 12th? Do you have an opinion? So Washington Street is worse for us personally, but I think it's better for the neighborhood. I think it makes much more sense. It's a wider street, but there's that problem of the running up against that shed. I don't know what can be done about that.
Let me address some of these issues.
Let us just finish once. Go ahead, Dr. Smith.
The application is quite confusing to me. Now, where is
I can't hear you.
just is Mario Mario seems to be listed as the principal. Is he?
I'm sorry.
Mario was listed as the principal.
He's the only principal.
He's not here.
He's in California. I told him he didn't have to come. I apologize. But can I just address some of this?
Just let her finish.
Oh,
Go ahead. Dr. That's it. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
All right. First of all, I just asked the general manager, in terms of the indoor hours, they're willing to go back. They're willing to go 1 a.m. on weekends and midnight during the week. We said point blank, there is no shed. We're not going to have a shed. Jeremy just contacted the architect. Traditionally, the door was on 12th Street. And it just makes more sense to be on 12th Street from our point of view.
It was not on 12th Street. It was on Washington. Everybody lives here and walks by it. Do not argue with us about where the door was. Okay, there were 2 doors. All right. Washington Street.
Which went to where the seating was on the outside seating was on the side on West Point. Where that side door was used for the service of the tables, not for patron ingress and egress.
What I'll share is, and good evening, everyone. The architect shared with me, I don't know, but he said that Jeremy Mustakis, sorry. He shared that the historical entrance of the building was 12th Street. That was the original entrance from the origin of the building. I don't know that that's the.
Actually, okay, we're not going to do the back and forth, please. Okay, it's fine. What,
Understood. I just wanted to share that.
All right, I guess they're going to go back to one AM on weekends at midnight during the week. In terms of management, I can show you, well, I can't show you, but there's like a 50-page contractual agreement between George and Mario, where they just can't kick John George out. And besides, Mario knows nothing about the food and beverage industry. He will have nothing to do with the management. I want John George. How many John George operates? He doesn't own the restaurant. So it's this whole episode about noise and all this. This is a 56-seat restaurant on the indoor, 46 of which are tables, 10 of which are in a bar that's only 10 feet long. This is not an establishment that will be able to have noises or, I mean, the whole idea is the fine dining. And I'm the worst to understand why this is evolving into some sort of issue about loud noises. I mean, none of Jean George's is that. I don't listen to his name say, wow, is Jean George?
Using the name, actually, the name that's, you know, I mean, who knows what you're calling the restaurant, but right now it's from Flats LLC is what we're looking at.
They haven't decided on the final name, but outside the Jean George restaurant that's in Midtown Manhattan, none of them are Jean George. Jogo, it's the Perry Street. None of them are the name Jean George. It's just that his name will be associated with the restaurant. I assume there'll be a good deal of publicity. We're not interested in creating some sort of rowdy place.
So private parties, are there?
We indicated twice a month at the.
So that's 24 private parties a year.
Yeah, if that. I mean, again, we don't, we don't know if anybody wants to have a private party in that place.
And, you know, I think a good point was raised that with the applicant not here, he's the one who and whatever their we don't have the contract, but whatever.
I can't.
Just look, he's the principal, so he is the principal of record. So that's what happens. I mean, what if he chooses to break that contract can be broken. We're looking at this as a Jean George restaurant, but it's not Jean George. It's Mario of Chrome Hearts with security people, bouncers, and black limousines in front. Have you been to a store?
You store?
You've been to a store.
But I can still use
It's not a store because a bunch of people here actually do. So there's limousines there all the time. There are bouncers at the store. So I'm just, I realize John George, but John George's name is not the principal that we're looking at here. Mario is. Go ahead, Cormac.
Yeah, I mean, speaking myself anyway, Jean George, I have nothing against Jean George, but it's not it's not some magic incantation, right? He gets the same, right? Here I'm looking at the principle that is the current Flats folks. Now, what I'd like you to speak to is the issue of traffic, because one thing you've heard is that the traffic management is very problematic at the site to begin with. And your principal, right, the current Flats folks, don't have a stellar record in managing the traffic issues at their retail store, which is several orders of magnitude easier than a restaurant. So what is the traffic management plan? I tell you what, why don't we put this over? I'll bring him next month.
Good idea.
And hopefully we'll have some sort of traffic, because
I do think that's it. I mean, I do think between his reputation and John George's and it being a high-end restaurant, people are very likely to come in a bunch of for hire vehicles. And the construction has been going on that corner forever. And you do have a roadbed, whether it stays or not, right next door. I think it behooves you all to really look at that neighborhood and understand. Go ahead, Cormac.
I'm sorry, when you're done.
Done.
I just, since you are going to take some more time, I would suggest, based on what we heard tonight, that you might want to do some real community outreach. Outreach than you've done already. We try to done something. No, there's a blast like every name you gave us. So we sent it to everyone who was on that list.
So you know what we'll do is I will, I have the email addresses of some of the people that were here. I'll check with them to make sure that, or you can meet in the back. Why don't you all exchange your email addresses in the back so that they have it?
Yeah.
And you can, because not everybody's, it's like, it's not always we don't always have well-organized block associations everywhere at every little corner. So I'm not saying you did, I know you did the outreach, so this way you can do the proper outreach with them also. And
We have no.
no, it's not, no.
I have no problem with that. I really don't.
Great, so you'll let the office know you're gonna lay it over and.
Right, but it'll be Jeremy, since he'll be the one in charge of the, yeah.
Come back again too, but just have Mario, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. And to anybody who wants to provide your email address to them, it would help so they can do the outreach with you.
1932, and then the entrance to Washington. Sure.
Just do me one favor, if you could all just take it to the back.
Yeah.
Okay, the next is Sedona here or not? Okay, so I'm just gonna, if everybody's, I'm just gonna keep going and I'm gonna call you last. Okay, so, the neighbors are here and that's what okay, so Zimmy's New York LLC, 72 Bedford.
Is that the one from stay? Yeah. All right, Matt Tolton representing Zimmy's NYC LLC from Hudson Levy. With me today, I have Jenny, one of the principals. I'm going to kick it over to her to talk about the concept in just a minute, but quickly run through the roots here just so we have a broad understanding. So this is OP liquor license application for 72 Bedford Street. It's between Commerce and Newton. It has had a full OP there for at least since the late 90s. We're under the understanding that it's been in restaurant since the line before that. And it's moving into as the Casa space. It's a Brazilian restaurant. It's going to be back-end music only. No live music, no DJs, no dancing, nothing like that. This is a farm to table full service dinner operation. It's just going to be open every day. Hours are 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. across the board. We originally had 12:30 on the weekends. That's been amended to 12 a.m. We are under the understanding that that is the hours that Casa had as well. So that's why we're asking for those. As far as the floor plan, the ground floor is about 800 square feet. It's going to be about 17 tables, 45 seats. There's one bar with 6 seats and no outside space. You should have signatures that were collected and a few letters of support. We got about 50 signatures, a majority of which are very close by. We got a majority of signatures from people in the building, and there's a support from people in the building. And just one thing to point out is the land tip that you have in the packet, and notice the 11th ballot is for the wrong address. So if you need an updated 500-foot report, just let me know. Otherwise, there's a 500-foot map in there, so you see it's not close to any schools or churches or anything like that. So I'll kick it over to Jenny, and she'll take the made up concept.
Hi, thank you. Hi, my name's Jenny Guzio. Can you hear me?
Just tilt it down.
Thank you. Jenny Guzio. I'm one of the owners and will be the daily operator at Zimmy's. I personally have over 20 years of restaurant experience in New York City. I moved to the West Village in 2001 and have worked in the restaurant industry ever since. for the last 6 years. I've worked for Union Square Hospitality Group and have been the corporate beverage director for them for Danny Meyer. My experience, I think, lends itself beyond just wine and beverage. I've been a manager, director of operations, general manager of restaurants throughout the city. We are opening this very chef-driven, very small neighborhood restaurant that will be, as we mentioned, farm to table, with a very robust wine program, but we are primarily a restaurant.
Do you have a chef yet? Have you picked the chef?
We do have a chef, but I'm not able to name that person.
Okay, I was missing it in the packet. I understand that.
Yes.
Okay. It's a secret until they probably sign.
It's a good
Sign on the dotted line. Okay.
a good secret.
I think. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Go ahead. Did you meet with the Bedford Block Association or
Commerce.
Bedford Commerce?
I haven't personally met with the association, but we did do outreach, and I have been, and my partners have been in the space almost every day with the door open, meeting people. I know we've met with people from multiple associations in person, just having conversations, inviting them into the space and answering questions. We've had a lot of overwhelmingly positive response from all of our neighbors and everyone in the building that we've met. I think we've met almost everyone in the building has been extremely positive.
Yeah, so we got a couple emails from the local block association
Okay.
and one other individual just asking for you to put over to get together with them.
Okay.
So whether or not you do it or not, that's up to you, but we do have the contact information. It's Kathy Donaldson with the, yeah.
Amazing. Would
Yeah,
like to
and I'm sure they would like to make.
conversation with
Okay.
them for sure.
So do you, that's.
It's gonna meet with them, but really, if it's not gonna be worth to meet with them, I don't have to wait over here. We reached out to everybody on the list. We're not sure if they responded to us and requested that meeting. We're happy to set something up. We just don't want the reason that this application's responding.
Gonna lay it over. It would be certainly nice for you to meet with them, but it can't
100%.
weigh in there. The primary block association, they should have the ability to weigh in here.
100%. And I can guarantee that we've reached out to them.
Can't take I have the letter sitting here saying that they think the hours are too late. Not that they're against the application, but
I will say we did remove the hours from probably what they saw. So if they were having an issue with the 12:30, we're currently at 12 a.m. We have amended the hours. Because we did hear there were numbers that people were upset with the hours, so we decided to plan back on the weekends to 12 a.m. across the board. We understand that that's what PASA had before them. So we would wait for this to delay. We're definitely more than happy to set up a meeting.
So I just, in the interest of expediency and trying to solve with everybody, I have this thought, right? Which is that if it sounds like the primary concern they have is the hours, I'm sure there are some other things. We have their number. Do you want to have them go and call them tonight? We'll look at other applicants and bring them back up? No? Okay.
I mean,
I will say, just for what it's worth, that I did have personal conversations with several people from the block that had expressed concern about the 12:30 closing time on Friday and Saturday. And that is why we're changing it to midnight, which is what the prior owner had.
okay.
So
Does anybody else from the committee have
we
anything?
did do that to satisfy the community.
I just had a question about there's in your basement an outdoor space.
There's a small door that goes to outdoor space, but it is literally like it's a standing room only space it's for nothing.
I understand that. My question is, when you say employees only, what are the employees using that for? Because it doesn't seem to go anywhere.
It doesn't go anywhere, and I foresee zero use for it. I don't know why it's there or what it was ever used
So
for.
I'd like to see it stipulated that it's not going to be used, because one of the things that happens is employees use space like that as a break space to go smoke and things that make noise or smoke, it's a problem for people's lives.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I'm happy to agree to that.
And
Not
And
allowed.
there's no outdoor dining attached to this that I saw, right? Okay, thank you.
Ronna, I do have one question. How do you get into the basement? How do you get into the basement?
It's internal. There's a staircase in the kitchen that goes to the basement.
Okay, is committee good? Is there anybody here from the public on this application? Yes. Just hang on one second. So first you can fill it out, speak first and then fill out a speaker card.
Hello, my name is Paulo Valois and I live on Commerce Street, really around the corner from you. I think what you mentioned about having a conversation with the people at the BBC is a terrific idea because we are all a bit concerned about the flood. Oh, sorry, I did not know. It's the first time I'm doing.
I know.
About 12:30 opening hours because I've been living on Commerce Street since the Casa days. And we've had our runs with them in the past. And I do not know where it shows that Casa open until 12:30. It's not since I've been living there.
So they've changed, they've adjusted the hours to be the same as Casa to be midnight, 7 days a week is when they're closing.
Yes, so I would say that the conversations that we've have from people who live in that immediate area, I'm literally around the corner from them. We are all very nervous because, as you know, that precious 2-street block of Commerce Street is our oasis, and we adore living there and having a restaurant, which seems to be a very nice concept. Believe me, nobody wants an empty space. We all live in the West Village. We love to go out and have some good foods, part of the reason why we live in the West Village. But 12:30 seems to be a bit worrying to us, especially Sushi Nakazawa across the street closed at 10. Little Owl, a block over, closed at 10. 50 Commerce, which is the Shaker's Place, closed at 11. So all our immediate neighbors, extremely successful restaurants, they close within a decent time frame, which is aligned with what that neighborhood is about. So I think that sensitivity should be taken into consideration as we welcome the new neighbors into our neighborhoods. So this is my point. I think that speaking to the people at the BBC is a wonderful idea because, as we all know, conversation is everything in this life. So this is my point.
So what does BBC stand for those that don't know?
What's that?
The BBC?
The BBC, oh, the Bedford Barrel Association. I'm sorry. That's not
It's okay.
That's how we call it.
Barrel Commerce.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Catherine Donald. So yes.
Right.
So it's a wonderful idea because we all would love to live in peace with them because we are looking forward to the new establishment. And it's been closed for a long time. It's not a good look for anybody. So.
But do you have a question for him?
The question for the gentleman. So just if you were picking hours, what hours would you like to see? Just to give us an idea of where you're.
I think 11 is a very civil time. I think it's like, you know, if you're going out for dinner, I think 11, I do not know what time the kitchen closes. But I think 11, like Sushi Nakazawa, you know, like all these places that I mentioned, they all close around 10, 11. I think 10 is a bit too early.
Thank you.
I just wanted to just say one thing. Everybody's closing early now because of just the way things are, and I'm sure.
Okay.
Just so you know, Little Owl's hours are till midnight. They may be operating that late, but those are the
Okay.
they have. Just wanted to make sure that
Well, I'm sorry.
nobody. But most places are not staying open as late as they're allowed to. Don't have.
I'm sorry for my misinformation.
No, I mean, you're going by what you see and what you.
Yeah, that's what I see, because that's my area. I walk by
Exactly.
every day. So,
Absolutely.
so I was understanding the wrong one. So this is my point.
Okay, great. Thank you. for coming.
Thank you very much. Should I?
Did you fill out?
Yes.
Fill out the speaker card.
Thank you.
May I just thank you, and I appreciate you sharing your concerns. I think for us, for the 12 a.m. closing time, what we're hoping to achieve is to be able to take a 9 p.m. or 9:30 reservation, have that table be able to enjoy a leisurely meal and then not have to rush them out the door. So 12 a.m. would be when we're closed, when all guests have left the restaurant and our staff is left.
Do you have like a last reservation time that you,
I think 9:45 would be our last.
that would be your last reservation?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So typically you would see a table of 4 would have an over 2-hour dining experience in a fine dining or casual fine dining restaurant. So that's why.
Okay.
I would just concern, I mean, just consistent with the gentleman who just spoke. I don't see any signatures here from 81 Bedford Street at all. It's just devoid, and that's your immediate across the street. It's the large residential building directly across the street. And, these are the buildings that I know the Bedford Borough Commerce is not as active now as they were. They used to run all the block fairs. I mean, it's a huge organization that has everybody's email addresses, and that's really where the outreach begins, I think, but just not having a single signature from that building, just to me, it just doesn't really ring quite that well because of whatever the issues are. And I think that consistent with the other gentleman, I mean, there's a lot of the little practices from a restaurant that can have a huge impact on the immediate residents there, especially because this is a non-conforming use. This restaurant existed here before the zoning change, or a business use. This is a primarily residentially zoned area. And one of the largest complaints that we hear consistently is that these businesses aren't supposed to be in the residential district. They're an exception. And each one of them is constantly, over the years, not necessarily each one individually, but all of them collectively, the hours get later and later and later and have a pretty dramatic impact. And that's why the conversations are very important before you open, because it's very difficult to amend anything or change anything once you're operating. So
Sure. I think that's a very fair statement. And I think maybe somewhat of an anomaly that we don't have signatures from that building. I know we've certainly spoken with people from that building. And as I said, we've been in the space, meeting neighbors and speaking with people from the various buildings neighboring us. And perhaps for whatever reason, we didn't ask those particular people for a signature on a certain day, but I understand the concern for sure. And I think to the gentleman's point also about loving the block, like we chose that location because we love it also, and we love the history of it and the peace and the overall energy of it, and want to preserve that and become a part of it, not in any way detract from it. So
by way of just the long history, there have been a number of issues, and I think you heard that from the other gentleman as well, that don't necessarily pertain to hours of operation. We spent an inordinate amount of time in this committee with another applicant who was just down the way from there, dealing with a lot of issues as far as impacts on the immediate neighborhood during the day and in the early evenings, which, on these very narrow blocks can add up very, very quickly, because there's only one car can go through at a time on both streets. You can't really, there's single lanes. And so even a car stopping, dropping people off, I mean, that was an issue with among other things, with Sushi Nakazawa. So those, I'm not even sure if those were ever resolved, but nevertheless, those were ongoing issues that probably would have been better dealt with before things move forward there, but we're not.
sure. Yeah. And I understand that concern, and that there are ways to work with some of the car services and companies to mitigate that impact on the smaller streets. And we would be certainly willing to do that, and always open to any concerns or comments from the community.
So do we want to lay it over and meet with the people and return next month?
I mean, I prefer not to lay over just in the interest of our application moving forward in a timely manner. And I think we're certainly open, and I'd be willing to continue conversations with anyone from that committee tomorrow or right now.
It's just the
whenever.
problem is that we're here tonight.
Right.
I'm just saying, you know, we don't have their input on this, or have you had the opportunity to meet with those people that are impacted by this? They might be 100% supportive to talk to you, but we don't have that. And that is what I like to have when I do this, because you know, that's helpful.
We totally hear that. If it does get down to an issue of hours, unfortunately, we're pretty set on midnight. We're happy to talk to them about ways to mitigate the issue of noise. We can have cars pick up on their streets, all of that stuff.
Point is, I'm just going to tell you what the issue is for me. I understand where you're at with the hours, but issues aren't always just hours. It's these other things. And the way we resolve that is by putting that in stipulations. And if I don't have that information, I can't put that, I can try to dream it up. But this is why it's always a lot better. And I'm going to tell you this for your applicants, make sure they meet with the people that live right there, that are the ones, you know, we're on our site. I'm sure you've met with people. I'm not saying you haven't met with people, but I'm just saying this puts us in a position of having to dream up what I'm putting down there. And this is why it's, you've been here enough times where you see where people have hammered these things out. It makes my life easy, our life easier.
I totally hear you, and he has attested that stood out there and talked to as many people as humanly possible. And I totally get that people will be missed, and we are happy to talk with them, but in the interest of time, I don't think we're interested in laying over. But we have almost all of them from the building that the thing is open.
Street on Bedford, we have almost every homeowner. Well, that's the cat, that's the other part. Catty one.
They've been clear.
Right there.
You've been clear. So do not want to lay this over. You cannot lay this over. Why don't you go back and talk about it, and just, if you're going to lay it over, just come back, let us know. But seems you've been clear. I don't want to speak for you.
Understood. Discuss.
Thank you.
Next application is the Strangers Club, New York LLC, doing business as the Strangers Club, 137 Westbrook.
Do you mind if I touch this, or is it gonna go haywire?
You can turn it there to lower it.
All right. I don't think you want that. Hi, Ben Savitsky, Bernstein, Rado, and Savitsky. I'm appearing tonight on behalf of the Strangers Club New York LLC. This is a
Do me one favor, just come a little closer to the microphone. Thank you.
This is a full on-premises liquor license that's going to be at 147 West 4th Street. Some of you may know this place. It used to be Volare. It operated from the 1970s. This is going to be grandfathered under the 500 foot. We do have a declaratory ruling that is pending. It's going to be a restaurant and bar. It's going to be operated as the Stranger Club. It is not a club. When we were going around the neighborhood and people heard the name, they thought it was a club. The Strangers Club was actually operated in Panama City. The name comes from that when they were building the canal, a bunch of strangers got together and hung out at a restaurant. This is Ivan Radovic and Ivan Popik. They were involved in the Strangers Club down in Panama City and here to New York City. They can tell you a little bit more about the operations. I'm just going to run through the specifics of the operation of the application. So 2 floors, it's a ground floor and a cellar, and on the ground floor there's a backyard bug. The cellar is not for patrons. It is backup house. It is storage. It is kitchen. The ground floor is where patrons will be. 50 seats on the interior, 13 tables. There's only 1 stand-up bar and 12 bar stools. Right through the back of the restaurant, there is a backyard. Backyard is gonna be set up the same as Valore had it, which was 16 seats at 6 tables. Those hours of operation, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. inside, 7 days a week. Outside, it's 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Sunday through Thursday, and midnight on Friday and Saturday. These guys have done a lot of outreach. We included, I think it was sent to you, the outreach that they've done. We have over 110 signatures. I went to every brother on the block and spoke to a whole bunch of people. We've looked out pretty much all the drywall. We're putting in some attenuation and some proofing bar. Everybody in the building seems like they're happy. Only recording background music. It's only inside. It's actually no music outside, and that's it.
Okay, do we have anything that shows that that rear yard is allowed to be used? CBO?
There is no C of O for this property.
Was there anything, a letter of no objection, anything at all showing that that rear yard can be used or something that shows that there's proper egress for that rear yard?
So as far as, sorry,
Introduce yourself.
my name is Ivan Papic. I'm the operating partner of Strangers Club LLC, and I will be acting as the general manager of the Strangers Club as well. Right now, as far as the backyard goes, we don't have any certificate of occupancy or anything like that. We're planning on applying on all of the things. We're not going to be operating or trying to open a backyard until we have all the permits in order.
So do you want to remove the backyard until you have the permits in order?
With how long things take at the State Liquor Authority, I don't know that we can remove the backyard, and the backyard has been operated by Valore for 44 years.
Wasn't, right, doesn't mean it was legal to be used. The other thing is, are you filing for a place of assembly permit?
The occupancy inside is only 74.
It's a 78 and that doesn't include staff.
Is it 78 or is it 74?
That we should,
19 tables, 66 seats, 1 bar, 12 seats, 78.
it should be 12 seats at a bar and 50 seats in a restaurant. That's 62 plus the staff.
Plus the rear
Okay,
yard.
so we can adjust that. So maybe we can.
How is that being adjusted? You're getting a place of assembly or you're reducing all the seats inside?
The PA only, as far as I know, the PA only covers the inside, and you would need a separate TPA for outside, which I think is over 125. Artie, you're going to tell me I'm wrong?
Yeah. Why?
Is there another exit from the?
We haven't figured that out yet.
There is not another exit
Right.
from the backyard.
That's the problem.
So, okay, I was under the impression that the backyard is a separate thing from the CEO of 72.
Not if you don't have an exit.
The issue is that anybody back there has to pass through the building, and therefore that load, the patron load, is counted as part of that because there is no other exit. So they have to go through there.
It's a second door that's critical that Carter's getting to. So in other words, egress, you have not just the door in the front, but you have a door in the rear that people in the rear have to go through for emergency. And that's where the issue comes. And we've had this many times, and we've found out that you need 2 means of egress to do this stuff. So there's lots of illegal backyards in our community board in the past, and now they're coming up because of COVID or whatever else. So the grandfathering of the space may be true, but the exterior without some sort of permit, then it becomes a little bit more of a fire emergency egress type of issue. And I don't know, that's. And
Right. You understand our issue, though, that it's taking so long at the State Liquor Authority. By the time we get this approved, we're going to have to come back to you on an alteration, and we're never going to be able to use it, for a year and a half.
But that's an issue you should address to the liquor authority.
But also, you may not be able to use it. You may not be able to use it. And that's what we found out. So the locations where this has been permitted is with a second means of egress that people have been like a corner spot where the backyard has like a gate and then goes out to the street. And that's where we found where it has actually, we've seen permits for this.
Is it possible that we could put in a stipulation saying if permitted by DOB?
There's another issue here. I just want to back up. Sure. Somebody did apply for a letter of no objection on September 27th. And I mean, it just has very minimal description, but it doesn't talk about any occupancy except on the first floor. The other challenge in this space is that you're down steps. You're not actually at grade. And so these are all safety issues that come into play just because something has been operated there. Every time you put in steps, it changes how fast can people get out? What are the uses? You know, nobody's saying that it hasn't been used, but as Bob pointed out, that doesn't mean it was allowed. But with all that said, it seems that even in what you presented to us, it's not quite clear that you can operate as is, right?
You're only speaking about the backyard, correct?
No, I mean, it's across, you have different floors on here, right? There's steps up to the office space, there's steps down. We don't know if there's steps down in the rear yard. I don't know. I'm just saying with this is again a non-conforming building in a residential neighborhood. And it's on top of that, it's an old building. You know, you don't know the answer here until actually somebody gets the answer, because they're all a specific set of circumstances that are unique to the property. And I think that that's what Bob is saying, is that there's nothing that we've seen that says anything. And that's sort of the issue. And your point about the liquor authority is well taken, but we have never delayed in hearing any application that comes before us. That's something I would hope that everybody in this room is putting pressure on the liquor authority, because it's insanity that it's taking so long to process these applications.
Would you go back to if you go for the inside?
Yes.
But are you saying, so if we remove the backyard from the licensed space and we went forward on the 2 AM on the inside, you'll come back to you when we get something from DOD that says we are permitted to use the outside with an alteration application? We can move forward.
Yeah, well, we also had from the same gentleman that you've included a letter. The same gentleman that you included the letter from and saying welcoming you, etc. to the neighborhood, he raised actually some more issues in a subsequent letter to the board. I don't know if you guys got a copy of that.
You did not.
And
Mr. Brian Maloney.
yes.
We've been in the correspondence.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's just from October 1st.
Day, so.
And they had raised some additional issues with respect to, they're concerned about the outdoor space hours. They're concerned about the interior hours, and they were hoping that they'd be reduced from 2 AM to midnight. And they were talking about, you know, the rodent infestation, et cetera, and the abutting areas. But I mean, these are additional comments.
Sure.
Where you use the letter submitted to us as a support letter, but there's still some additional outstanding issues as well.
I hope you understand. I did not know that there was a subsequent letter. I would not have submitted that without submitting a subsequent letter. I think the rodent issue, they've worked out everything. They're putting in everything new again. So I hope that is going to be resolved. As far as the inside, I think that they can go down from 1 AM during the week and 2 AM on the weekends, if that's something works with the community.
I guess my issue is, you know, you can say that to us, but it's about the neighbors and where did those conversations with them go? You said that you've been in touch with Mr. Maloney, so I was just curious if you could tell us about those engagement.
Hi again. I even today before our meeting, Mr. Brian Maloney emailed us and offered his support and everything. We were trying to meet with him and actually officially introduce ourselves. Unfortunately, he's been down with COVID, so best of luck to him in that recovery. Anyway, that being said, we met everybody from our block, almost everybody from our block on West 4th Street between 6th Avenue and MacDougal. Everybody has been supportive of our concept and what we're trying to do. They addressed some safety issues, the rodent issues, the security issues, and all of that stuff. We are addressing those issues as we speak. We're dealing with a space that doesn't have a blueprint. We are currently working, our architect is working on a blueprint We're gonna do the soundproofing. We met with our immediate owner, tenant, which is above us, Mr. Kevin Fitzpatrick. He lives at 147 West 4th Street on the second floor. He's very supportive of our concept. The second and third floor is this artist couple. Mr. Horowitz is the last name. The lady has a different name. Everybody in the building has been very supportive. The issues that arose were the backyard issues, which we already kind of addressed here. So we're willing on stepping back from that and address it at a later date. As far as the going inside, we're planning on having an upscale modern American restaurant, upscale casual. So no tablecloths, like a nice neighborhood joint with upscale food, with a really, really serious beverage program. Yeah, I mean, food compared with wine, compared with cocktails, etc. We would like to offer a late night dinner service. So our idea is to go into service from 5 p.m. till 11 with like a regular dinner menu, and from 11 till 1 a.m. with a late night menu. A limited menu that's maybe just the items that are only offered that hour, maybe like a fancy burger or whatnot. The plan is to have everybody out of the door at 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, there's only staff and management inside of the place doing their usual cash outs, and everybody is out of the door.
But here in the West 4th Street's concern about the hours, we would be willing to take down the hours during the week to 1 a.m. if we could keep that 2 a.m. on the weekends. And I think that's reasonable that we're getting rid of the backyard, so that backyard's not going to be a concern.
Weekend being Friday and Saturday, I just want to clarify what weekend is. I just want to know what days we're talking about.
Okay, so I understand weekend means Friday and Saturday. We would love it to be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We're willing to meet you at Friday and Saturday. I see in our restaurant industry, Thursday kind of falls under the weekend. I hear you, ma'am. I respect that. We're willing to meet you at Friday and Saturday, 2 a.m. if we can have 1 a.m. on the other days. Thank you.
Donna, can I just ask a question? So what are the price points for the early dinner, and then what are the price points for this late night idea?
The
average check.
Yeah, we're looking at an average check about $80
for both the time periods.
For both time periods. There's not going to be the late night menu is not going to be some cheap food or discounted food. It's just going to be like an elevated late night menu. You know,
kitchen until closing.
Full kitchen, full dinner service, no table removed or anything, just proceeds.
And you understand that when, and I'm not saying I support this 1 and 2, I think it's still too late, but
okay.
You understand, you said that at 2 o'clock people will still be working. That's not our understanding of closed. Closed is closed, everyone's gone.
Including staff?
Including.
Okay, we can work with that. That's, you know.
Well, what'd you say? Oh, yeah, no, closing, whatever time you're closing, it's a hard closing, all patrons are out.
Yeah, that's all patrons out. I mean, there might be a couple of waiters just cashing out.
The door the second the patrons walk.
Music off, everybody out.
Staff.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, well, we'll go ahead. Cormac, go.
Yeah, I just wanted to check on looking at the floor plan. The deck, second floor deck over the kitchen, is there a deck that you actually go out?
So that's the backyard garden. I think that's what that means. So the cellar, then there's the ground floor and the garden on the back. That deck area is over. Am I wrong about that? Oh, go.
I think you're wrong about that. Those are actually my drawings.
Okay.
I almost went to be an architect, but I didn't. That is just a second floor. It's supposed to be an office space. That deck area, I honestly, that was my writing on it. It is just a roof above the kitchen. It's not going to be, it's just a roof above the kitchen.
So it's not going to be used.
I'd be using a current garden, but no people go there. There's no patrons going there or anything. Just the way it's built out, it's just a roof above the kitchen. That's all.
Okay, and so my only other question, and you know, I don't speak for committee, just I'm asking for myself. I'm hearing you say 1 and 2. Is there any further give on that?
I mean, for a restaurant, I think 1, 2 is somewhat reasonable.
Okay, we have different points of views. I think a restaurant is 11, 12. but okay.
Well, we did note that it is restaurant bar and that he did say there was going to be a late night menu, so we are expecting a late night menu.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so the last thing I just, and this, it brings up a little concern I had pointed out to Bobby, noticed as well, and I think was just with Ivan, with your background, some of your places that you've worked where you've been employed have been huge problems for us. And
Oh,
this
I
matches the
understand.
style.
I know what you're referring to.
And this matches the style of exactly the places that were a problem. You know, with the Beatrice Inn, with Sasha, you know, the even to some extent with Paul's Casablanca, but those issues seem to be resolved. But all of those had operating issues, in particularly as they concerned the issues from inside as they relate to the immediate residents. And in fact, I think that every single person who lives on the block at the Beatrice Inn had serious issues and came to some huge meetings that we had that caused, it used up an inordinate amount of time from the board's perspective, and to some extent with Sasha as well. So I just bring that up, that this location in a residential district, any kind of even minimal issues are huge that are the quality of life impacts. And that's what we hear about first. And, we certainly appreciate the soundproofing, but if there's any operation remotely matches those, it's going to be a problem. And I think that that's the concern with the hours on top of that, but that doesn't mean it's a determinative factor. It's just something that raises a lot of flags because there's managerial responsibility in there, and doesn't mean decision-making, but I just raised that.
I think you could respect that we're all going to have recorded background music only, and that, I mean, this is not a 4 a.m. This is not even a 2 a.m. Now it's a 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And we are saying that we're going to have a full kitchen that's going to be going until closing. I mean, that's the type of operation it's going to be, where we can stipulate that we're not removing tables. This is not going to become, I wasn't privy to what those issues were at those other places, but this is not going to become a club or anything like that, if that's the concern. Okay.
Exactly. If I may, sir, I understand your concerns, and I'm very well aware of what were the problems when I used to work with those places. But then again, at that time, I was just employee of those places, and I was not involved in any decision making. And I'm not looking to create anything like that, because ever since I moved to New York, I've been in this industry and living here for the last 25 years. Between two of us, there's almost 40 years in experience in great cocktail bars and everything. The reason why they're asking for a little bit of a later license than normal restaurants, like let's say the Blue Hill 1 block up, or Babbo on the same block, we're coming from a very strong cocktail background, and we're talking about elevated cocktail service and experiences and stuff. We're not talking about, jugging shots and beers, nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, it's like, we also want to see you as neighbors coming in for the late night cap. I want to see people from neighborhood restaurants coming in after their shift is over for night cap, keeping it quiet respectfully. We signed a 15-year lease. We want to stay there for 30, for 45, for 60 years. We want to be respectful neighbors and work with you guys in finding the common ground in all of it. And I could have hired those places from my resume, but I didn't. So
if you just
I can.
many of the higher end hospitality or cocktails or whatever. Sorry. The description, they have lines outside at times, and that is, we have actually been very accommodating recently to a number of new applicants who have a long track record, but now there are lines outside of those places, and they've been in residential communities, and it's a challenge, which is good for them, they're successful. Obviously, people are interested in coming, but it's a challenge because it's what they said they wouldn't do. And we're put in sort of this conflict area of, do we make complaints about it, or is this something time will handle after the immediate opening, or whatever it may be? But again, this type of space with the downward stairs, you don't have room to handle anybody inside. It's very easily can become a problem, literally in a heartbeat, right? Suddenly you have a line of people waiting to come in, you got written up, whatever it may be. So how would you engage with that, or how is that going to be handled?
If I may address that issue, we're hopefully gonna have a lot of reservations, then you wake up to already successful date. We're planning on hiring a security company, people that we used to work before. They will provide a 7-day security, which will be a guy with a suit and a tie who's just gonna be there to manage the crowd control on the street. We don't want people smoking underneath the Kevin Fitzpatrick who lives above us, or anybody else. We're going to direct them towards the corner of the street. There is a Chase Bank on the street. It's not a residential. They can smoke whatever they need to smoke there. We don't want to allow any gathering if people don't have a reservation or there is no room at the bar for them to wait for available table. They will be asked to leave their number. We'll page them, text them, or email them later when the table becomes available. We're going to do everything in our power to keep that block clear of any noise, of any black limos, of any of that. Also, I think the presence of some kind of a doorman / security will help with the problems that not only your neighborhood, but all the other neighborhoods in New York City have been experiencing, especially with the fact that Galanga, which is a Thai place next door to us, actually went out of business. They closed their doors 2 days ago. So essentially, the whole block from Chase Bank all the way to 147 is going to be empty. And, I think everybody is welcome to on a block is like, we're glad to see business opening, keep it clean, keep it clear, new restaurant, et cetera, et cetera.
I will also say that we will be back for that alteration, and if we are causing problems, we know that you are not going to approve that alteration. And that is not a grandfather issue, so they need to be on their best behavior.
I guess I would just bring up, we have the perennial issues with lines outside of employees only. We have Angel Share, which just opened, which is preeminent cocktail lounge. In fact, many would think is the first sort of modern cocktail lounge in the city from the 90s. They have lines, they had to relocate. We have Temple Bar, which, reopened about a year or two ago. They have lines earlier in the evening outside. Both Angel Share and Temple Bar said they would never have lines outside. Temple Bar has a well-known individual who's worked for years in nightlife who stands outside. It creates a presence, but at the same time, it creates a line.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all just issues that have different sides. And I think that Volaire never had those issues. Sure. And so the introduction of this different style of operation can very easily bring that based on just slight changes to what you're doing that could suddenly have lines outside, and just those are the impacts we're concerned about. Again, the history of other places, they're very successful. You get lines. So
we hear you.
You're done? I just want to say one thing. I still think the hours are too long. If you want my vote, you have to pull back the hours, just so that you understand, how I'll be voting, because in the business section, you can't comment, but the hours are too late. Okay. I think that.
You're okay with the hours? 1 a.m. during the week, 2 a.m. on the weekend. Yeah. I mean, if that's what happens, she comes over to what to do.
Yeah, just to address your issue about the hours, we would like to get those hours that we agreed to reduce, like 1 a.m. During the week, Friday, Saturday, 2 a.m. We starting our operation without a garden, that we will come back in front of you to ask for the garden or whatever. That lowers down the number of our seats. We all have numbers to meet, people to pay, etc. It's really difficult.
That's okay. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what?
Falls down by staffers. Hence the realistic concern.
But,
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. The next application, go ahead.
We're willing to lay over. Zimmy's going to lay over until next month. We're going to set up a meeting with Catherine Donaldson.
I have the BBC people's email. Can I give it to him?
Got it.
Can I give the email to him to reach out the BBC people?
Sure, he's got the email address.
I don't know to you to give it to him.
No, totally fine.
You just give it to him.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Just give it to him. That's great.
We'll talk to 81 Bedford, and if there's any other major stakeholders you think we're missing, please let us know. We don't want to miss anybody. All right, great.
Thank you very much.
See you all in a month.
Thank you very much. It's appreciated. Okay, Strangers Club? No, we did that. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Sedona Club. Thank you. It's the two clubs. Thank you.
Any other applications to be heard other than Sedona?
Are we ready? You can lay it over or
Are we signed?
okay.
We're trying to work with the community.
So
What's the problem? You can leave, I'll let you know how it vote goes.
while we're doing this, just give me 1 second since you guys are doing what you're doing. So for the committee, there is an application. It's 78 Fifth Avenue, Cafaneo, guys, doing business as Austin Flowers. Right, remember this one? And so I think I emailed you, but I never did anything publicly on the record. After they came in July. We thought we had worked everything out. They wanted live music, but they did not agree to acoustic only. So they would not sign the stipulation. So the resolution reads as though everything we agreed to, but that we didn't have signed stipulation. So we denied it because of that. After our full board meeting, at the very end of July, they just signed, they didn't say anything. They just signed the stipulations and sent them in. So I just need to change the resolution to reflect that so that they have something that we all will deny unless with those stipulations. It's acoustic only is what's written on the stipulations. I have them here if you want me to read them or anything. So that's the 78 Fifth Avenue, the flower shop on Fifth Avenue. And so basically, I haven't spoken to them. They just signed what we agreed to at our meeting. So we don't have to vote again, do we? We don't have to vote again because they signed what we agreed to. I did the email that said they're not signing, and is everybody okay with denying them? And everybody said yes.
Did that Carriage House place at 142 West 10th that we
They have late over.
And reduce it.
Yeah, they. Are you ready?
We are laying over for a month.
Okay, no, good luck.
Thank you.
So we'll see you, I guess, next month. Okay, make sure, I don't know who all you're talking to. Just make sure that you had all the names of everybody from last time.
Yes.
So
Track it all.
I know you were doing that. I just want to, just so that I don't.
Sure.
You got it? Thank you. What, this is Sedona Club. Okay, I think then, that does it. for tonight. So does everybody want to take a minute or two break? Or do you want to just go into it? Quick break.
Does this work? Does this work?
So what we're gonna do, and you may just, there are people from the public here, so since they came, I'm gonna let them speak on Sedona Club. In case they don't come next time, and they're right, I should do the new business. Sure. Well, you know what? Let me make sure I have my committee at least. Did you see? So what we're gonna. What we're gonna do before you start, just before you start, let me go to them, and then we'll go, I know. So I'm good,
This has been laid over, so we shouldn't.
right, but we're testing.
Testing one thing.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say, they're here from the pub. I'm just gonna let them speak briefly. Because they've been sitting here all night. What if they don't want to come back next month? Then
They're from the building, I believe. We're negotiating with the building. I think that this should be laid over and everybody should be heard at the next meeting.
are you all from the Are you all from the same, for the people from the public, please, who's here on Sedona? Can you please come up here? Are you all from the printing house condos? Okay, so a group of you are working with them to, can somebody help? Right, you're all so they're all with. Can we use a microphone?
So my name is Benjamin Kalos. I'm the attorney representing the printing house. Hi, good to see you. So I'm here with the board members. This was properly publicly noticed, so there are members of the building here. I'm here with the board members and representing.
So there may be people who are from the building that are not part of the board that may speak separately. I got it.
But in the interest of good faith, it has been laid over. And so if folks are open to coming back next month to be heard, we would like to honor the fact.
I realize that, but
everybody on board.
Right, I mean, this is the issue, if everybody's not on board, then they are here, they've been sitting here all night for this application. They may be out of town. If anybody is here on this application, it has been laid over. If you do not want to come back next month to speak on it, if you want to say something briefly, because we did hear from a lot of you last month, so the concerns were raised. And people are, so if you want to say something briefly, go ahead. I'm not going to stop somebody who's been sitting here all evening from speaking. Okay, that's fine. So we'll try. You know, I called this, just for the record, I called this early and I kept not calling it. So this one's not on me. And this one for once is not on me. Right. So, okay. So there is no one, I just want to be clear on this, there is no one here right now that is going to speak on this application. Right now, you can all speak next month if you want to. Okay, great, thank you. Al Farstein, this is new business, Katie. Hang on one second, just, no, it's not, just. Yeah, just give me 1 second. I guess our schedule, is it Tuesday, Wednesday, or is it's Wednesday, Thursday next month, so it's Thursday. December is the one that's Tuesday, Wednesday. Yes. Is that, do you have a calendar in front of you? Give me 1 second, it's not the second. It's not Thursday the 2nd. We meet, it's the 9th. It's the 9th. So we are meeting, this application will be heard Thursday the 9th. I will not take it at the end. So come here prepared or lay it over. Thank you. We have a separate issue. Okay, well, for me, I give. So we're doing new business now. If everybody, and if the people that are here from the application just want us to be quiet so that we can hear the new business, I'd appreciate it. Go ahead.
Okay, guys, you know me, I've been in front of the board a million times. And
Bob.
And I've told you many, many times and I'm usually working for some applicant who wants to put in music somewhere. And I've told you a million times that decibels and things like the term background music are not really defined, but there's a very important concept which I have to explain. I'm sorry if it gets boring, but it's about the term dBA. dBA is a common way of measuring sound. Go ahead.
Could you all keep it down in the back?
Okay, dBA is the most common way of measuring sound. It's designed to measure the sound that hurts your ears. It is designed to ignore bass. The biggest problem that everybody has with music, as you all know, is bass, the pounding bass beat. You hear it a million times. You hear it from every community member who's against an application that has music. Bass is the problem. Well, apparently, I'll give you the backstory. I'll make it very quick. There's been a guy who some people think is a vigilante in Queens. His name is Dietmar. And Dietmar has been going around using a part of the noise code called citizens complaint to go to businesses that are deliberately sending sound onto the street with a speaker right in the front door or a speaker outside. It's like, and he's been giving them citizens arrests essentially, and he gets a percentage as per the noise code of the fine if he proves his case. So the New York Nightlife Association and my good friends Max and Bob Bookman are against this because, and there's a big story in CBS a few months ago. I just found out that what's happening is that one of the councilmen, I think his name is Holden in Queens, is sponsoring a change on October 16th. I'm going to be out of the country. I'm going to put a submission in electronically, and I'm going to have my assistant speak. A change to basically gut the provision that protects people and businesses nearby from bass. And let me explain why. There's a section of the New York City Noise Code that protects residents, only residents, from excessive bass. It went into effect essentially in 1992. And that basically added, instead of just dBA as a means of measuring sound, to measure the individual low-frequency bass booming sounds. In 1992, the subwoofers weren't as prevalent as they are today. So now the subwoofers produce frequencies that are not specifically mentioned in the section of the noise code that deals with people who hear music from businesses, okay? But there's never been a protection deliberately allowing a maximum level of sound that a business can hear of bass from music. So if you have a law office or you have a spa and you're right next to a gym where they play insanely loud music, the only thing that's coming through the wall is bass. If you have a law office on the second floor
above a bar, restaurant, nightclub, the only thing you hear is bass. We all know it, boom, boom, boom. And when you measure it with a dBA meter, it doesn't pick it up. I mean, basically at all. So the Bob Bookman has basically said, and I was going back and forth all day with him by emails. He's not changing his mind. He thinks that what we have to do is change the section of the noise code called 24.218, which is entitled unreasonable noise. Right now, that section says the following: unreasonable noise is not permitted. Then there's an example. There's actually 3 examples of unreasonable noise, and they all, unfortunately, say dBA. But fortunately, they're preceded by the phrase, unreasonable noise shall include but shall not be limited to. And then they have 3 examples. So when I do reports for people who are getting unbelievable music from a neighbor, whether it's business or residence, I can say this is unreasonable noise. Because even though these frequencies, these super low frequencies, may not be mentioned in the residential section, and they're nowhere protecting any businesses, I can say this is unreasonable noise because the phrase, even though it has dBA examples, it says shall include but shall not be limited to. So what Bob is trying to do is to say that for any noise, and the section is in what I just handed out to you, and Mark has distributed, I think, to everybody electronically today. And I just found out about this in the last week. What Bob is trying to do is to say that for noise originating from a business, that is music coming from a business inside, can only be measured using the 3 dBA examples. And it takes it out from the shall include but shall not be limited to. It specifically says that. And you'll see the section where they've modified it in that little thing there. Businesses are in an uproar because they've gotten violations for having noise. The music that they put out into the street deliberately. Dietmar's been going after them, collecting fines. Bob considers him a vigilante. I consider him good for him, providing they prove it. I don't like people. I could read you some of the emails I got from Bob today, but basically, the Nightlife Association is afraid that it's going to that Dietmar and people like him are going to get violations against businesses who put their noise out on the street. Bob isn't realizing the thing about DBA. Bob isn't realizing the thing about other businesses next door, upstairs in the same building across the street who are going to be affected by this. We just didn't know. I called him up. I said, you know what DBA was? He says, I don't really know it as well as you do. And I had to explain this to him, but he dug in and he said, no, I'm not dealing with it. Now, I like Bob and all of this, but he's dead wrong about it. The city council, when they made the noise code, the reason they said shall include but shall not be limited to is pretty obvious. You can't predict all the ways that people could make some kind of unreasonable noise. So you have to give some leeway. Things have to be reasonable. The word is reasonable. Bob says you gotta have objective standards. Now, I agree that it's good to have objective standards. This is a shitty objective standard, number one. That's correct. That's correct. Right. Now, there's an attorney named Eric Eisenberg, who I got in touch with because I'm friends with Arlene Bonsaft, right? And Arlene is a big noise helper. She's an advocate for a quieter city. And Eric and Dietmar and I have been communicating the last couple of days. He sent an email. I saw a copy of an email he sent. I wasn't copied on it, but some weeks ago, I guess, that had every community board, I think, imaginable be on that email. Now, my thing that I wrote up explaining why it's a problem, and Eric didn't even know about this DBA issue. He thought the only problem would be people would no longer be able to use citizens' complaint. And I don't want to sound like a Republican, which I'm not, but, you know, taking away citizens' complaint is depriving us of our freedoms. It's really, because you know how they say in the subway, if you see something, say something. That's because there aren't a million transit cops, but there are a million riders. So people can actually, so I think it's a good thing, providing they prove it. And it's not easy to prove. Not easy to prove. You go with your phone and get closer and closer to some speaker and you show with a video that it's getting louder. It's hard to do that because of the way these phones pick up sound. But did I answer your question?
If somebody's screaming and yelling, or getting visual.
Uh-huh.
The kind of visual motive is by the individual.
I mean, I make a suggestion that somebody who had a career in politics. City councilmen. We have to respond businesses. Businesses are getting fined for something we're forcing the law. So they want the law changed because they like breaking it. And so the city council is trying to change the law so that it can continue to break it.
All right, now that makes sense to me.
Yes.
I think you're right.
What's very interesting and very disturbing to me is that since we're talking about acoustics and changing laws and making things more palatable or comfortable for people, in this neighborhood, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, cars come through with their loud music. So they need to do something about that too.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Because I went to the city council.
Try it off.
Well, you got to prove that the noise is coming from them. So I went to the city council and I came with a 3-foot, a yardstick. And I had attached to it a sound meter at one end with a rubber bumper and a video camera at the other end. And I said, you give this to cops and you say, oh, for 1 week, you're going to go around with Diana Williams, who I know from Eyewitness News, and you're going to go on Canal Street where the cars are stopped in traffic and these guys are playing these 2,000-watt stereo systems. And you're going to walk closer and closer, videotaping, seeing the meter and the car and the driver the whole time until the rubber bumper at the end of the yardstick touches the car. And the level goes up and up and up. Boom. Case closed. You proved it. $250 fine on Eyewitness News, a blitz. Suddenly the city would become quieter. Guaranteed. And totally ignored.
So ultimately what you're saying is we don't want the law changed. We want it to stay the same.
At least.
Right.
At least. They should say low frequency sounds should also be examples, specific examples. I'm up against all the time against all these consultants who are basically working for noise making businesses, co-ops, condos, people with noisy elevators in their building, landlords. And I have to say, this is a problem because the boom from the elevator, when it starts and stops, the brake activating and deactivating, you hear it in people's apartments. People live on the ground floor, people in the middle, people, especially people on the top. They hear these booming sounds. I say, this is unreasonable noise. And consultants come in there, they're paid by the landlord or the co-op or the condo board. And they say, no, the code says it has to be dBA. Meanwhile, the sound is like this. It's a low frequency sound. It doesn't get picked up by dBA. And they do that because they know if you just measure with dBA, it'll be invisible. You hear this right now? This is a subway going by, right? The sound level is going up in the low frequency bands, 15 decibels, which is 3 times louder. On the dBA scale, it doesn't even go up a single decibel. I've been measuring it all night.
They're going to have a hearing.
Yes. Right.
Having a hearing.
October 16th, I'm out of the country, but I wish you would spread the word. I just think it's a terrible thing.
Right.
That's sorry.
Well, that's.
Yeah, I think at the very least, yes.
That's a typo.
Yeah, I mean.
Got it.
So I could say is don't allow bounty hunters to come in with flimsy evidence. Come in with real evidence. Prove that somebody, they're innocent until proven guilty.
So our October 16th is prior to Community Board 2's executive committee meeting and prior to our full board meeting. So we're in a position where we can't create something that would be coming from the board. So, well, I mean, it's not coming from the board. And so I'm just, is individual testimony the only way, or can you think of anything else that we might
I have a
be able to
suggestion.
comment on? or-
I'm a neophyte. I testified in front of the community, the city council, and I was the only one who was representing the city council when the new noise code was passed in 2005. But,
Let's just, Donna, I just want to answer your question, Carter, if we are, as individuals inspired by what we've heard, we can all submit testimony ourselves. I mean, you know, and it is an issue.
And we're here associations know and spread the word about it.
Yep.
Is this a big enough difference to create a big rift?
to make a big what?
Rifts with the New York nightlife, excuse me.
I don't care. I have more business than I can handle. And frankly, I think businesses will get a bad rap from other businesses. You know,
Okay.
if
Okay,
things aren't done
we're
fairly.
going. Go ahead. Finish up.
Mark, do you have any comments on this noise code legislation? Have you heard anything about it from others? Do you?
Go ahead, Val.
Christine Berthet at CB4 had, and we were having another conversation and she brought it up and it sent me the initial legislation, not the newest one, but the initial one that you sent out. So that's at CB4.
And did they, what did you hear? What was it that you heard? What?
No, that it is an issue, that it was an issue. She sent a 2-page summary. I think I forwarded it to a couple people that it kind of seemed crazy to me that it was such an egregious use of rolling back something, and that it just kind of seemed like nobody was talking about it. And it's just kind of this bill that was hidden from 2022 that I guess is coming back up again. Because I see you had sent through something that had it on the agenda that was supposed to be on the 16th, but now I guess that meeting, that stated hearing is moved, and it's also an oversight hearing that the council is holding for DEP. And then it's a set of.
So it's not on the 16th?
It's delayed, right? Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought I saw something was delayed. I have not really looked through my emails.
In light of what Valerie's saying, we could make a motion or pass a resolution tonight, and if the hearing is definitely delayed, then we could have it at the full board. You understand what I'm saying, Donna?
Yep. Every time I've come before you guys with one of my reports, it always has a section with the noise code. And I explain how important DBC is. I've never seen that in any other consultant's report. And that's because most of them are doing so much of their work, their bread and butter work for buildings, big real estate companies and management, that they don't want that to be counted. They don't want low frequencies to be counted because it's the most prevalent problem.
Got it.
I sent it to the executive team first, and I'm glad to circulate it based on their recommendation. To answer Carter's other question, with respect to what I've heard about this, it is the primary complaint that our office receives from constituents has something to do with noise. This would have an enormous impact on the work that a consortium was trying to work on in Washington Square Park, among other places. So this is far from a trivial matter.
And that's like the comment.
Like the amplified sound issues, because there's an effort that I don't want to get into, but there's an effort to try to allow the amplified sound within certain ranges, and this would in effect bless almost all of it, and that would not be consistent with the use of the park that some other folks are advocating for.
What committee is this in of the city council? The DEP? Environmental? Okay, that'd be helpful.
Yeah.
It's always been illegal. It's always been illegal to deliberately put sound out onto the street. I object to the fact that sometimes the inspectors give tickets to businesses who are accidentally letting sound out onto the street. That's different from opening your door, propping it open, putting a speaker there, and trying to attract attention. That's the purpose of section 24-244, which is a different section. I don't spend much time on that in my letter, but that is their main concern. But now they're trying to fold those
that change into 24-218, the unreasonable noise catch-all provision. It basically takes away all kinds of teeth.
I know what committee it's on. It's the Committee on Environmental Protection, Resiliency and Waterfronts.
And one of the people who's sponsoring it is James Gennaro. And James Gennaro was the one who called me back in 2005 and said, the DEP is promulgating a new noise code. We'd like your comments on it. And I went in there, we had meetings and all this stuff. And I was there with Bob Bookman. And I told them a number of things. They didn't take most of my suggestions. They took about 2 of them. But
And none of our council members are on that committee. And Gennaro is the chair of that committee. Thanks.
Does it say anything about when it's gonna be?
I guarantee you, nobody.
16th.
It's double like the 16th.
Nobody on the city council knows about this DBA issue. You are the first people to learn about this, other than my friend Ron DeCason at the New York Times, who used to do the questions and answers section in the real estate, and Steve Slatkus, who's an attorney who also gets called a lot for questions and stuff about noise. So I told him about it today, and so.
Okay.
Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you for pointing it out and coming, and sorry we couldn't do it at the beginning. But
Night, guys.
we'll do but yeah, we'll let community groups know also.
Yeah, you can email me or whatever. I'm going away on Tuesday, but I'll get emails and stuff and any questions.
Okay, great. Thanks, Al. Okay, are we okay with our business session? All right, the first one, this is stuff, was RAAGI doing business as Mint Masala. This is transfer restaurant wine, 11 to 12, 11 to 2, same way as it was operating before.
And this is, it strikes me that while I'm getting so much this yard, the yard is so problematic. And the proper, the CB2 land committee could be coming. Yes.
The next one is your hand roll that is a restaurant line. Yeah, some background music, you know, outside, and then you put something in there that cleans that up around it. You don't want food right there, you know. And every line off the back. Okay, the next one was yes, I want to see and for logo. On premise, restaurant, same operation in the store. 12 a.m. 1 a.m. they said they'll need to share. The menu, I'm going to tell you the menu.
And I think that they find the menu for one. Well.
Yeah.
Well, the weapon, something they didn't bring the weapon.
You always can do Wednesday.
Yeah, yeah, well, this they said.
I personally have a little problem with this one, because I don't really work on comparison now, but to say that, I mean, they lied for us, I made it here, the exact same thing, they filled out the application the exact same way. We had a liquor ordinance here, and the presented, the 10% ownership, that was exactly what they did last time, and then the liquor ordinance, they did that doesn't have to be, I had put this on the page, remember, we was really good to you guys, they did a really good spiel last time they came, and now it's gonna put in another for this meeting, so I personally have 100% denial, so it's not that. I'm totally against it, I mean, but your committee, that, I mean. Yeah.
So I just wanted to just Donna's point, because she started with this and then. So we have three other licensed premises within our board. Which the principals, which even though it doesn't list all principals on our form, they have not listed all. But two of those other principals, which Bob asked them if they were involved, and said yes.
10%.
Right, but they weren't sure, so on where these four individuals are all principals, which is at the location on the third. Their stipulations clearly say they're not operating as a lounge, tavern, and sports bar, but they will show sports on TV. They actually call themselves a sports bar. They also said that they would not have DJs, and early on they advertised DJs there. There's a lot of inconsistencies with this.
And they also made very clear representation that Sedona asked them when they came before us that their style operation, etc. So that's one thing we can. Bagels, which is on Bedford and
Right there.
what's it, Bedford right off, and Leroy. They came before us for that, and one of the things is that they said that they would have no outdoor structures as written in their stipulations. They're actually serving a alcohol without permission, having to go out of hand in those structures, because they have stipulations against it. When they got that, I tried to engage with them, and we tried to reach a resolution, and they thumbed their noses at us and said, no. And they said, we can do it, but actually, subsequently, there's an advisor from the liquor authority that cannot. 296 Sandwich, which is, I forget what it's called, I guess it's the Garrett West, which is above the Five Guys. They also didn't agree with the stipulations that were originally signed, and we had to go through a whole long thing with them and with the 6th precinct, including officer, it was now detective, or Detective Jackson, and now Detective Cam had to go over there extensively with them on that issue, and we had issues with how they're operating and following there as well. So that's what I brought up to Mr. Callahan when he was speaking. He's like nothing ever for that. And that's very difficult, and we already see here because the problem is able to, and then they're not going out the materials correctly, and it's difficult to weigh in when that's consistently the case in any meaningful manner, because we don't know what the burden is always on the community to make complaints after the fact. And there doesn't seem to be any burden on them to actually follow the stipulations. And that's something that I think brought up a number of times. Well, when I go to there, stay quiet. TV if people really want to get their knowledge that they want to be on the so there's a lot of open issues that I mean, maybe I wasn't totally convinced here because the response was, oh, we did everything right. Yeah, and that was my concern. And the fact that they were called out by an administrative law judge the last time on $1W3 fee, which is Rocco Sports Bar, they were called out for not disclosing information by the administrative law judge as well, for a whole during the they also talked about that. So,
And the other thing that they brought up tonight when I was saying that about Rocco's, is they kept saying that they are trying to, they're working with over there about hospitals. We have not heard about it. But apparently the neighbors there are kind of probably But you know, what they said was they're the ones that are running it, and somehow this happened, and that's exactly how they present. I just learned, they're the ones that are running it.
And so this brings up, this is like a classic problem with classic paper, yeah, right? If somebody gives us something on paper, it's one thing, but the track record of the person and the people, we know that they're not reliable in there, and it's the classic piece of numbers for us about what we do something. Right? And so what are we gonna do about it at this time? Now, my feeling is there's a lot of history here that we can cite. So I would be okay denying it and citing history. But that's an easy thing for me to say, because two things. One thing is, I don't know how strongly current SLA, other people you might know, will take that history of care about it. And also, I mean, it sounds like I'm jumping up the volunteer to go up and present it. Sounds like harder than we want to this because he knows it. Well, maybe I mean, I'd be willing to maybe go present it though.
what do you think about having
well, for a while? I can tell you this, it's not an opportunity. Because they only had 2%. Okay, and the other 98% belong to two guys that are on this, that, you know, there's a reason they're basically a bunch of the other two guys, so they really two bonus. Okay, that's really what. So they got caught, they didn't realize that we're gonna figure it out. These guys did it, we were gonna reach that request, because they kind of found out. Well, okay. Look, did I think it was gonna be sport park? No, they did ask for 6 TVs. The location there, I didn't think it was kind of location that, I wasn't too worried about that condition. But obviously, I got a complaint there, based on what they said. I just, I think the transfer, there's nothing outside. So to the extent that what's actually happening in that place is fine, and they reduce the hours, except who they are. That's their liability. So if you don't trust them, there's plenty of record there to go on. That's okay. And
We don't know.
maybe we should decide, maybe I'll just run wild line and sand these guys. We're gonna do it again, right? They're gonna come back and be on another place.
But maybe we just say exactly that. I mean, that's the issue.
It's not what's written down on the paper. It's.
We also went and, you know, one of the things is that we really. When they came to us for the former patio space amendments, you know, there are other history of the era, we said, okay, we believe you. And within a few months, they, you know, they had built all the outdoor structures, and there was just a disciplinary hearing. Secretary hearing for the village tavern this week that originated out of all this issue.
They removed those sheds that they were, or they met at the other place. You said that since this election, or the actual liquor, it's in the document.
Yeah.
It's not inside. It's exactly. So at some point, you're voting, and then you have to convert that to what your stipulation said, and they did. So effectively, if someone voted in general, you just. Okay.
But it's just tiring because it's been trained around.
Okay, the next.
Should we do this for the? I know, there's, you know, we have a lot of.
Laid over, right?
Yeah, although, you know, we shouldn't forget when they come back, that they already before laying over said that they don't want.
Yeah, and. No, because I'm not sure, I cannot recall why, but we did discuss. From the last, we started the town meeting.
They don't mark.
From March.
With stuff in one of our meetings.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not sure exactly.
One of your ones.
No, it wasn't that, it came up in a separate meeting. About how they operate, but I'm not sure exactly how it came up. There's always class that was talking about the store, the store.
We just finding the background on that and just like, that they're filing the applications, they have a lot of hotel style applications. Where the hotel business is seeing like from side, so you know, operator, you know, if there were a problem, they still have the licenses to swap in. Else, so we get one side presentation, but we could just swap it out for anything else. But when usually it's a follow operator, you're usually very fancy. And anybody else that also operate under the same. That's why it's concern.
Yeah.
I remember the meeting.
Well, they did say that right now, some people try to start on for years. They did it in the
Just
yeah, it's not bad, it's just the architect.
I think that's because Marty said I thought it was within the property.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But they can't tonight, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not the details. Yeah, right. So let's do, we'll skip to, the stranger that, so. Yeah, I'll go right back. The strangers, 147 West Fourth,
Frustrating, but it's a little bit different. This is block, and I am very much not, but this block is inside of public. So, yeah, and we hear about it.
I'm okay with it, but I'm more about the situation. The impacts on the outside. And it's been
yeah.
There's some there. So this is. I mean, you know. What concerts are your guys that I think there are real good guys and there are the balance of people who often make things worse.
So what they put in the application for was one board person, 7 days a week, not, you know, they're categorizing it as a board man and not. So that's the type of thing.
I think though, when we didn't have anybody block, but I know from the previous testimony that we had, for the top school location. I think it's right, I think we need to send you the neighbors slightly. And you can require it. Yeah. So that's fine. Point is that it's stop. Will be help or somebody who can engage with it, like, water. That's very and I think that there is a great example of great business now. They have a line of 30 people outside. And they said that they're going to have it, and you know, gave them a significant freedom to move in there. So that's the reservation release. When you talk about the law, I agree that having a person now and having private businesses is an improvement someone, but part of the problem all along Martins for them, that whole area one is just that it's become too live at late at night. And that's what I'm concerned about the hours. I kind of feel like anything that it should be more what happened soon. Late at night, people probably have that maybe. Yeah, we'll put that back and see if there's the other hours. That's what we're going to practice. I can get that argument. I just also raise the cap. Not backyard, I mean.
Right.
It seems like a pretty big, we should get there for a long.
We put in, you know, with the remote, that we could fill for any seat, you know, the roads.
It's just for going out. It's in, so.
Right, exactly, no, I know. That's the problem.
I mean, that was a long time ago. but-
I appreciate it.
You know, like,
The application.
I like the other. The other place that they found.
Yeah.
So, okay, the non, but I'm saying, okay, is everybody else, they're not,
And that's also.
it's all okay, okay. What's the vote?
No, I was just gonna say that I don't. They said there's submitting. Bills with predatory only, but I. But.
Yeah.
But if you, I mean, about that, they signed the.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Wait a second. Yep, there we go, so that was good. So we don't have to do anything with that, okay, so now.
Thanks, so don't fall off.
Down later over. And then I'm just gonna write it as a one of flower place, we already voted on it before, so I don't need to do anything other than write it.
Change. Did they like that? Like I was at a place. Did they come back? I was really.
And then we divide them.
Yeah.
And then. That. And a lot of people, really like good email, because if you know the people from the community that were there, so that they know. Because we had a lot of people from the building next door, are there people who do not, I don't, you know, we don't usually see them. And they were still not, they still felt that the hours. Do you have their information down? I have the idea of everything. I mean, they were closing at 10 on Sunday, 11, Monday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, Saturday, I think they had outside, but it's closed at 5 o'clock, they don't go alcohol outside. And, you know, everybody from the neighborhood liked them, as when they were operating the coffee shop, flower shop, wasn't etc. It was this expansion, and then with the music, and I think they were originally asking for 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. and that soon changed. So I think this ended up being the top of mind rather than the acoustic, and going back and forth with acoustic and huge drop. So that ended up much less surprised. This came in out of the sign, so.
So with that, we, the denial on us, or was it whether it's a
It
denial?
was written as a denial of just, it was basically. It was almost written as a denial on us because.
Okay, so I'm just saying that you. They have that authority, that if there's some change, it can be waived from being part of the board. But in this case, however, it says that I.
Right.
But they already.
But it's 0-1, so I just want to make sure there's something up there that corrects. the restaurant. Okay, so then, the fiscal law, what? We want to do this, everybody got that ideas on that? It's important.
Let's see. Your finger now, I can't follow. I usually work with them. Another line of incentive.
Well,
Yeah, I'm not sure as much as we can do.
well, we could write a resolution, basically, do that. I don't have. A record. And I think.
That says, just give me some framework.
Well, the basically supports what?
Yeah, we have, yeah, more, so we have.
Yeah, I think. This is why I thought I saw it. I can't find my email. Yeah. It was some there was Christine or something.
What, and that's the second.
Who did not get it?
And if the resolution, right, that the proposed changes with law will have a dramatic negative impact on our community and on residential life in our community and businesses.
I mean, unfortunately, we don't have the language to propose to correct it. And the changes is in response to how to do you put forward this sentence.
The guy was actually, enforcing the law.
No, but you had a phrase with that, I don't want to take it away from you. That American hero, which is why but
this is a typical thing. The city doesn't do a very good job at all about enforcing that out. They passed it as a political thing. And so, as typical with city enforcement ideology in the market, they're like, what the enforcement would be is, we'll let the citizens enforce it. And now some citizen actually took them up on it, so they're like, yeah, now we gotta rewrite the law, so it can't be enforced even that way.
But I did think, it's interesting that Al was presenting this to us because he's really the only one who's in the details at the base, having a long time ago lived above a license permit, but I can hear the base through my pillow. That's like how the base travels, and that is what's unreasonable, and it's not the other person.
On the
And I think I was talking to another guy, the base, the phrase we use, that is energized part of our building. And that energized feedback, that's how it sounds. So if you pick any inanimate object, fix the building, whether it's a pipe, a sprinkler pipe, a water pipe, a drain, whatever, and go out and stuff. And by everything you want to play up, bricks, in a place, and everything else. And that's the thing I didn't realize that everything is reasonable. While listening to the moment, presentation and talk about different it's just, it's very.
More costs. That couldn't really enforce anything.
Well, enforcement is that first, right? The unreasonable noise.
I didn't know
that. The idea that, I think that's a simple way to say what Cal was saying, is that these changes, right? Will basically mean that basis, that basis not captured the license. Right? And we can speak from experience of what the active base is, the real active base, and creating noise. In contingent on habitability of apartments, residences.
Right, and that ties into zoning changes that in the city were done in 2020 or 2021, that went into effect of the outdoor dining. The cat after. Right. It allows. In residential. Commercial. So this makes it basically possible. If you're for.
It wasn't a problem. Looking at it, but if you read it more carefully, it all becomes better, and that's what they're more lucky. Right. So I think they were, you know, I'm gonna write there. I'm not gonna say. And I'm happy with but I residents should have I mean, now we're saying that there are days that weren't available. But I.
Well.
Especially selling.
I'm taking tomorrow. Looks like. Right. There's stuff going on. We're doing six out. So that means it was like 27. Carriage. We have.
This is originally from an engineer space in connection with the operation of we divided a salary. And then I able to line up the blah blah. But then the music just doesn't apply.
There's certain. Richard has been here a lot. So we're seeing them pilots. So the jury
but the vibration that on the base.
And you have people who are doing that. It's all done by that's not. So no, this is.
That means or this month.
Is that
really important. Now, everybody can have almost the open cost that uses their those. And so that's the way it's something. Because there's no way to get
right.
I didn't even ask about
so how do you increase your chances of winning? So applicants are submitting multiple applications for different venues. Not a single one actually. And the different statute we don't. Work space. And then.
Okay, does anybody have anything else to
One time, sir. Oh, that's. It's something. We have two applications for 141 current years. So really the land was saying short of you, short of me. Well, and the idea is that again, it's a lottery. So if one of them hits the lottery, then he's the guy who's gonna be the beneficiary. And there's nothing in the says they can't do it. In fact, there's something in the statute that says it's something called a provisional license. So, right, so the provisional license includes the fact that you are now a lot. And let's say you would have roadway. The fact that you don't have a space yet is not a disqualifying factor, and you have 12 months to come up with a space. Hey, you know, we're done. Say that. Okay.
Here, what's up? Mark, it's so fascinating. I'm gonna check in with you at the beginning of the week and see how it's changed.
Yeah.
Just because I'm curious.